3,
two,
1.
Monkey bars.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Thick and Butter Podcast. My name is Alex,
My name is Jesse.
aka Thick,
And butter.
and we are joined by our lovely guest, Zach Korea.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thanks
And
for
this is
being
the
here.
final installment of our Twilight retrospective, backwards, wrong order, viewing, trying to piece together what the fuck is going on in these movies. Why do people watch these? Why did these make $1 billion worldwide?
I had something funny happen to me over the dishes though regarding Twilight, because I was thinking about setting up the podcast. And I remembered, and I was like, oh, let me just look over the plot just to, ring some bells about it.
Mhm.
And I did, and I was looking through it, and I was just reading through it, and I got nostalgic.
Aw.
Aw.
I was like, oh my gosh, remember when Jacob wasn't a weird kid?
Remember when he wasn't just a sweet boy?
He was such a sweet
Long
boy in
hair.
this one. Sweet, gross,
Yeah, we're
long
talking
hair.
about the first Twilight, by the way.
Yeah,
the
the last,
Mm.
which is the correct one to watch last, because that's how you figure out all the information, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
enlightening.
It's almost
Yeah.
like it's the setup movie, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So, but it's nice to leave that to the end because mystery, right?
Yeah. Some people might
Right.
disagree,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
Have
would
you guys-
say that it's
what
the
is-
right order.
What is the biggest mystery in your guys' life?
Whoa.
Like the biggest one.
Whoa.
Mystery?
Yeah. It could be a small one too. It doesn't have to be a big mystery. Like,
Wait.
where my shoe?
Okay. Like
What about
mysteries we're
you?
trying to figure out. Wait, mysteries we're trying to
Where?
figure out.
Last
Yeah.
movie.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, active mystery.
Okay.
I need to think of one. I asked a
I think I
question, but
got
I didn't.
one.
I didn't have one.
I think I got one.
Yeah, you go, Zach.
So on the side of my house, there was like a floodlight that goes down this hill. And at like sometimes in the middle of the night, it turns on. And if I'm awake, it like blares. So that means something's moving out there. And it ain't
Ooh.
wind, it ain't a leaf moving by. It is something walking out there. Now I don't know what it is.
Rabbit.
Well, I don't know. It could be a rat.
Deer, a
That's what I'm thinking.
butterfly. It could be a lot of different things.
I think
It could be a
you
serial killer.
I think my guess is that you got a really chill possum who just takes circles around your place.
Maybe
Oh, I
that
don't
could be
know.
it. I was thinking either deer, a Sasquatch, or DB Cooper.
DB Cooper.
One of those three
Oh,
coming up and around.
The most common animal in the wild.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's a good mystery. Here's why. Do you actually believe in in Sasquatches and Bigfoot?
Biggest mystery.
Are
My
you one of
biggest
those-
mystery is a question.
Are you one of those people that? Because that's a mystery. Sasquatch is a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple TV shows about looking for Bigfoot.
I think
There's
I
a group of people out there that are looking for Bigfoot.
I think for me, despite the copious amounts of evidence for Sasquatch,
Copious. So many.
I don't know.
There's
I don't.
one picture.
Yeah. One blurry video that
And
can't
all
be
those
disproven.
documentaries,
All
dude.
the other videos are clearly men in suits.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm down with the Sasquatch. I mean, I'm down with it. I'll fuck with Sasquatch any
Dude,
day. But
okay, all those things. Yetis, werewolves, vampires,
Yeah.
witches.
Yeah.
I want all of those to be real, right?
For
I
sure.
want
Yeah.
For sure.
aliens to be real. I want
Yeah.
Sasquatches to be real. But listen, it's not real.
It's
Okay.
not
But
real.
Sasquatches have the like I could see that being real.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's just a big monkey that kind of resembles more human features. Like I could
Yeah.
see that
Hmm.
being a thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Yeah.
there were big old
And they
monkeys.
were Sasquatches. They existed
Yeah.
before.
Hmm.
Well, like big gorillas existed. I don't know if
Yeah.
like man Sasquatch existed. Big
Yeah.
man Sasquatch.
Big
You
man.
know, I think like a version of a Sasquatch existed before. Um, like
Like, what do you mean? Like, you mean
it was
like a 9 foot?
yeah, like it was like
Okay.
a big like an 8 foot monkey that
Yeah.
walked
Yeah.
on it, that walked on its
Okay.
hind legs.
Yeah. I think there's one of those guys. That's what the so okay. I've heard that that's what people project, but is that like what like the people in the documentaries project? Because I feel
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
okay, they think it's like a prehistoric monkey that's just
Yeah, it's
survived.
the same thing as like
Yeah.
Nessie, like a Loch Ness monster.
Gotcha. It's a
Which
dinosaur.
couldn't happen if it's like nothing lives that long. That's the
No.
problem.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
well, that's true. Nothing goes with that long. The theory with Nessie though is that the Earth, the theory is weird that like over time, the Earth, eroded, and it the monster got separated from his family and
Uh-huh.
grew up in different waters, so therefore
Uh-huh.
he's like able to live longer. Like that was I'm pretty
What
sure that's like
Yeah. The
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 reasoning if it were to be
yeah.
real.
The
that's
problem
profound.
is that like Scotland used to be like connected to North America. It's like the
Yeah,
same
Right.
type of rock,
yeah,
and it was
that's
under
it. Yeah.
glaciers. So
Mhm.
like, was it just chilling in like a cold bath for like 1,000
Yeah.
years or so, or like
Zach, you bring up a
Frozen.
killer point. You bring up a killer point using science, but
Yeah.
it's hard to compete with people who have such a mastery of science when
Yeah.
you can bring
Just make
with the idea that you'll live forever, you'll achieve immortality if you're separated from your family.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't call people like who believe in Sasquatch and shit crazy because we don't know what the fuck is out there.
Yeah.
We don't know
Mhm.
what the hell is in our ocean, man. There's some
Yeah.
weird ass shit in our ocean that we have not even begun to even like discover like what the hell is going on
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
Well, giant squid used to be like a myth. Used to be like, oh,
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
aren't
right.
real, and now we found them.
Right.
So it's
exactly.
like there's probably some other weird ass like shit in the ocean that we just haven't seen.
Yeah.
The thing about the Sasquatch thing is that if there were to be real, it would most likely be in one area in the country or in the world, but they're
Mhm.
finding them everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Yeah. Well, wasn't there was one up down in Manhattan recently? Like, just
Yeah,
on like
yeah,
on Wall Street, guy buying a hot dog.
yeah,
Someone saw him. That's where they are
yeah,
now.
right. So,
Yeah, you'd think they'd be a little bit more collected in
but
one
dude,
spot in a
I
biome.
want that to be real so bad.
Yeah.
I would love a Sasquatch to be real. I would love aliens to be real. I mean, aliens
Yeah.
are real. But I'd love to see something that, I don't know, a discovery like that. But
Yeah. Like something
and people,
wild.
I think it's crazy that there are people out there that dedicate their lives to that.
Mhm.
You know,
I
they're like, I'm
know.
gonna dedicate my life into finding this mythical creature that probably in my heart I know that it's not real,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
never find it.
It's weird because like the way that information works in this world, like it's really easy to believe stuff and for something to be convincing, but it's also really easy for information just to like not be true. So it's like it's really weird with these types of things, because like anytime I get into like one of these conspiracy theories, like by the end of the thing, it's just like I fully believe that this happened. And then like I go and look at other stuff and it's like, actually they made literally everything up.
I'm the
So
opposite. Every time I look into a conspiracy theory, I'm like, that's bullshit. The only one that I kind of got wrapped up in was um the moon landing. That one is pretty interesting. But I'm not saying I believe that the moon landing was fake or anything like that.
Mhm.
But there is some really interesting evidence supporting that it was fake and that they staged the moon landing.
Yeah.
But like, and that one has more validity to like, because the Earth is flat. Like that one's the most retarded one of them all, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like
that one's rough.
there's so many pictures. There's so much. Like I could see, like there's nothing in it that I could find like merit in, and like be like, why would you eat? Because even if the Earth was flat, who cares? Like that changes nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah, it's
And
just like an
also,
argument to be there.
the argument to be like, the government has hid this from us for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, why?
Why?
For what? For what?
Why would they go through this trouble just to be like, the Earth isn't round, it's actually flat? You know, it's like, okay. But the moon landing has some interesting things tied to it because of the space race, you know, and how we wanted to beat Russia to the moon. What better way to do it is to fake it, you know? To fake that we maybe have been there. I don't think it, I think we went to the moon. I just think it's interesting that we only went 1969 and have not gone since.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Well,
weird.
no, we went up until 73 or 72.
Still weird to me, though. Even like after that, 73, why?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know,
I
but
guess we don't need to go to the moon. You know, I guess like the fun, like we don't need to really to go to. I believe that we went to the moon, Jack. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you're not. You don't believe that, but it is a part there. Like for the conspiracy, why didn't we go back? And like the science one is like it's really fucking expensive.
Yeah.
But like the other one is like we found aliens. They live and chilling on the moon. We don't want to disturb them.
We can't just like bust into a bro's joint, man. First life forms we met. We're not gonna crash a party.
Yeah, that's what we did. Like 6 times we crashed parties, and they're like, "Hey, dudes, this is really not cool. Can you please stay on like your Earth? We got the moon. You got Earth.
You guys
stay this way.
You stay on your pretty little planet. We're gonna come over there and start a fucking riot, dude. An alien riot.
Maybe that did happen.
Maybe
we already had communications with the moon people.
I thought you were gonna say comedian aliens for whatever reason, because communications was going straight to comedians, and I would love that if we had first contact and these aliens are like, humor, this is me, and they're just like all on stage, but they suck because they don't know jokes or cadences at all. They don't know humans. They don't get it.
Well, this is hard for me in a world where we have a fucking robot on Mars. You know, like we're looking at the surface of Mars, and like we haven't been to the moon again, or like had an idea to like, hey, maybe we could go to the moon again and have higher res images and video. I don't know.
I mean, they probably do it again, but I mean, the other thing too is like during the space race, there was a lot of incentive to do that. And then after we won the space race, it's like, well, we have control over this again. And
where do we go from here?
Yeah, and we have like there's like a bunch of funding, so like I could imagine it being just expensive and just like they're not being the pressure. I don't know much.
Well, that's like now we have like SpaceX and Blue Origin stuff like competing. So there's a competition to get back to the moon, sort of.
Virgin Airlines.
Okay. Have you ever flown on a Virgin Airlines flight?
No, I have not.
Okay. So I flew Alaska once from Columbus to Seattle down
I
to
think you
Portland
told me
again.
that. I think I
Yeah,
remember
the
when you
chairs are big enough to get lap dances in. It's like designed for a lap dance. These planes are like a strip club
That's
in the
sick.
air.
That's dope. I need to go on it. I need to get on one of those. Are they
You've
like
Yeah.
cheap? Or are they
you've
like inexpensive?
can you give
I
me a Oreo shake?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
God.
What do I normally get? That's what I want. The cookies and cream. Yeah, cookies and cream. That's the
We're live.
Yeah. We're doing shit here.
Imagine if we were live, like this is a live
Are we going on?
podcast,
Hey, everyone, stop.
thousands of people are watching.
That's what I want. Cookies and cream. I'm gonna keep
All right.
that in.
No,
To be
Jesse, edit
fair,
this part out.
I
be
just
fair,
really didn't want to miss out. She was going to get ice cream, and I did not want to miss out on that milkshake.
yeah, that was a good milkshake choice. So
Yeah. Anyway,
You're talking about Virgin Airlines and
why
that you could get
is
lap
Virgin
dances.
Airlines like cheap? Like, what even is Virgin Airlines? Is it,
I
like,
think it
where
got
they
bought out
go
by
to?
Alaska. I
Okay.
think it got
Oh.
bought out. I think they're still in like Europe, maybe,
Like
but the
by
American ones.
Alaska, the airline,
Yeah, Alaska Airlines. Yeah,
Yeah.
the state.
the state. Sort of. It's partly owned by the
Funny
state
that they
now.
had their own airline.
Yeah, that'd be
Probably very small.
Isn't Virgin? Is Virgin bad? Is that the reputation for it, or is it like
I think it's cheap.
okay?
Yeah, sleazy.
The worst one is
Sleazy.
Stewart. That's the worst.
Oh
one.
God. Yeah.
Have you? What is bad about that?
It's just cheap.
Like
the seats are terrible. The service is like horrible.
Yeah,
chances are someone's gonna be smoking on your plane
Right.
and they're not gonna do anything about it.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
unpleasant.
very,
Like they charge
Very
you to print out
inexpensive.
your ticket.
yeah.
Like give you an idea.
It's very
Is it-
inexpensive.
Is it dangerous to smoke in a plane, or is it just unpleasant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
man.
it seems
You're in
like
a-
it'd be bad, but
Very.
so like, what's like? Is it dangerous to the plane, or is it dangerous for like your breathing?
Both.
Breathing.
Yeah,
And also if the smoke gets in the cabin, the pilot cabin,
yeah.
that's not good.
Yeah, they can't see shit.
Well,
That's a
they
good
also,
point.
They can't see. Well, you don't really need to. A lot of things are automated now, but
Uh-huh.
it's there's a lot of instruments in there that I think will get affected by smoke.
Mm.
Yeah,
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's very clear to do that.
And I guess like also like if you're smoking on there and you just have smoke in a plane, similar to snakes on a plane, then it's just gonna like hang around. Doesn't have anywhere to exit to, right? Can't roll
Yeah,
down a
there's
window.
filters.
You used to be able to smoke on a plane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're able to smoke everywhere. Get that. Ooh,
Mhm.
that stuff. That good stuff is better than air.
You
Get the
also used
good
to- You
smoke.
also like before, like in like the 80s and 70s, people would like dress up to get on a plane. Like, it was like
Yeah.
an occasion to get on a plane.
Yeah.
I mean, Wait, when were planes invented?
1902 or 03. But then
Okay.
it's like first commercial like 1920s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like probably like
Wow.
more widely known in like the 40s and 50s.
So everyone living on this planet Earth has never lived in a time where there wasn't planes.
Yeah.
Is that true?
There'll be like 123, so
Yeah, they're
probably.
pretty
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. But like just like in the 80s, there's definitely people who are alive who've been around for no plane life.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
For sure.
That's wild. Like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think of flying as like being like the thing that I don't know. It's been around, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like even think about that. Probably around before telephones, even like elevators, there were probably a few people kicking that like didn't know what
Oh
it
no,
is.
elevators.
Telephones
Wow.
are crazier to me.
Yeah, that's just weird.
Yeah.
Like I get
because-
the science, but weird.
Because
Right.
flying is
More weird
incredible.
science.
Flying is incredible, but at the end of the day, it's like transportation.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, like, being on, like, talking to somebody on the phone for the first time. Like, if you were, like, 35 years
Yeah.
old, and
Yeah.
when were phones then in 1920 something?
Yeah.
Yeah, around
My
that, right?
son.
2030.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calling your friend for the first time, and, like, in a different,
No.
you know,
Yeah.
bizarre. Probably such a weird experience.
I wonder because
Flying
like
was probably fucking weird too.
yeah. But
Mhm.
like I feel like the point that you're making with that it's like this concept like with flying you could conceive trying to do that but think it's impossible, but like with
Yeah.
talking on the phone it's like I
But
never knew you could be here with me
when
but
you also
not.
like you're talking on the phone, you're like, how is this working? Because it's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
You see a
Yeah.
bird fly, you get
Yeah,
flying.
you're like, it's
Yeah.
You don't have
possible
a
to
voice
fly.
coming out of something.
What
Also-
about like you have two bean cans, right? And you do the thing when you have your two bean
No.
cans and you connect the string. That's
Well,
like
I
kind
think
of a
I think
concept
it's
of
the same
phone.
idea. Like when the
Yeah. But
phones
then
were
like,
first invented.
that's like an example of like
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
conception.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, also when you look at a plane, you're like, yeah, like that could probably fly.
Yeah.
But like
I don't know.
phone,
I'm
you're
just
like,
scared.
what?
I'm scared of planes because like I guess like because I know
Jesse,
like
can I tell you something?
what
You really should not be scared of planes.
it's not something I can choose, man. I just get on there and I start sweating.
Well,
It's scary.
what are you scared about?
Fine dying mostly. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's
But like it doesn't matter. You can't like say
I'm scared. Well, no, I'm telling you that it is like it's like so it is nearly impossible for a plane to get out. And
yeah.
even if when something is wrong, like
Yeah.
there are so many things that go into not like a plane will never rarely it's happened I don't even know how many times. Like not even in the below 100 and ever.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like the plane's being like, I'm gonna blow up now. Like, it's really possible. And if there's something wrong, they just literally land the plane. Like it's
yeah.
not an
Mhm.
issue. But
Well,
Yeah.
no, I get scared. My thing that scares me about planes is the takeoff and the landing. That's what
Oh,
yeah,
same here.
I hate that.
other than that, like I'm fine. But
Yeah. For
I
me,
don't
it's like
love
on
planes either.
takeoff, like what if you don't fly? Like what if you just keep on going
Yeah, you
at
like
like
just like
400
go into the
miles per
street. I've
hour?
never thought about
Yeah.
that before.
The thing that I keep thinking about in a plane is like it's funny that like when I'm in the air, like God has told me all these things that like there's so many things that like even if something does go wrong in the air, like nothing will happen.
Yeah.
They'll just land the plane and like there's just so many safety precautions. What does scare me and how a lot of plane crashes happen is the takeoff and the landing because the landing gear will burst or break. So if the
Mhm.
pilot doesn't land the plane correctly, like when you're in the air, it's just computers. It's just like you're just letting this auto. So it's not human error, but the human part is when it's landing. So that's
Mhm.
when I actually get scared because it's like someone's controlling this right now, like
Mhm.
the plane. But when you're in the air, no one's really controlling it. Like the pilot's really just there to be like check if the computers will shut down and
Yeah.
shit. That's
The pilots take a smoke break. It's all
yeah.
good.
Smoke out the window. Crack it.
But I get it though. I get sweaty when we take off. So I'm just like,
I just don't like being that far off the ground. It just
and I
scares me.
also what
Mm.
helps me too is I don't look out the window.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
let it
that's
go.
the best part.
I can't
Yeah, I
do
don't
it.
like it.
I can't do it.
You know what the scariest part flying ever for me was when I flew into Aspen
Uh-huh.
because Aspen's an interesting place to fly into because
You can like see the mountains.
well you have to go through mountains and you
Oh
have to
shit.
go like because Aspen is in it's Boulder has a couple mountains there, but Aspen has a lot. So you're
Yeah.
basically landing. It's a town and basically a whole,
Mountain area.
mountain.
Yeah.
Whatever you fucking call it.
Valley,
Valley, yeah.
Mountain Valley.
And
Mountain Valley.
and so what you do is the planes are very small. They only see like it's not like a propeller plane or something, but it's like it's
Thank
small.
God.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like a normal commercial flight, like a United plane or something. Like the standard plane holds like 200 to 300 seats.
Yeah.
Like this like holds like 100 to like 80 to 90. So it's a small plane, and like you just have to like maneuver, like literally the pilots have to like maneuver through mountains, and like
That's scary.
it's fucking terrifying, and like it's beautiful. It's such an interesting thing because you're looking out the window and you're like, this is the most beautiful
Wow.
shit ever. But
Yeah.
you're also like, holy fuck, because you're so close to the mountains. You have to like the airport is like it's hard to fly into.
Yeah.
So it's
Mhm.
like
Have you ever been
um,
on like a flight that like missed it or something and they had to like go back around and do it again?
no, I'm not.
No,
I haven't, that hasn't happened to me. I was just
I'm
wondering if
trying to
that
think of the
is something
worst
that
thing
could
that's
happen.
happened to me on a plane.
I've been
I've
on a
had
plane that's been hit by lightning, but like that's easy. The lights just flicker,
Nothing
like
Wow,
turn
happened.
that's
off and go back on
crazy.
again. Like it's nothing because it's like a
Yeah.
giant metal plug in the air, so you're fine.
Well,
Wow,
one
that's
time,
crazy.
I think a couple times, like the plane had like a mechanical issue, and we had to like land. That
Really.
sucked more than anything because it was like fuck, like we had to like get on another plane. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad had one where the engine fell off.
What?
So
What do you do?
yeah.
Is it just floats and you go down?
Well, yeah, and like the pilot came on and said, "Hey, the engine is off," and he explained that he was a B, was a B 20,
well,
whatever
guess
one of those
what?
flying
That's
fortresses. They're like, I flew these planes during the war. I
that's
can land
why
them
you
without an
had
engine.
that's why you had to.
Yeah.
That's
So they
why
landed. There was
planes
like,
had two engines.
yeah, I can't think it was like Columbus to Minneapolis, and they ended up like landing in Madison. Um,
I love to think about the fact then, which this might not be that funny, but it's entertaining to think about that there's just like a plane engine just like somewhere in between Columbus and
Yeah,
Minneapolis.
I think it hit a house. I think that's what happened.
probably killed
Holy
somebody. Yeah,
shit. That's what
Yeah,
it
happens in
probably
Donnie Darko.
yeah
yeah.
yeah it's a real thing for sure.
That's crazy.
Um,
Can you imagine like having
no.
like having that Donnie Darko experience happen to you? Just because I'm like on a third floor of an apartment building. It could be my house. Come straight through
Yeah,
right
Yeah,
here.
you
I'm
could have new
scared of
neighbors
I can
soon.
have new neighbors.
Take that as you will.
but I'll never get in a helicopter. That's something I'll never get in a
Are
helicopter.
those like those are more dangerous, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
But
Well,
like if you're, yeah,
I was already scared of helicopters, and then when Cody died, I was like, no,
No.
never will get in a helicopter.
yeah. Like helicopters are like, if it's something wrong with it, it goes like wrong.
Wrong,
But also
wrong.
with helicopters, how they're built, if like the engine stops working, you can land like real easily.
Yeah.
Because like the blades just start rotating the other way and you start
What
going up while
what
landing.
happened to Cody's helicopter? Do you remember?
Wasn't it fog? They end
Oh,
up
that's
crashing
scary.
into the valley.
There was some mechanical issue with helicopters that like if this certain mechanical issue happens, like there's literally nothing you can do.
What?
Yeah, that
Why
happens
would
like
you
more.
ever get on something that has that kind of problem?
Well, they're like helicopters are so convenient,
Yeah.
especially for like celebrities like that who are like they literally can't go anywhere. So like
Yeah.
it's nice that they can get in a
Zoop.
helicopter and just
Whoop.
kind of literally
Yeah.
instead of like getting on a plane because you could take off a helicopter anywhere
Yeah.
and you can land it anywhere basically with enough space. You can't do that with a plane,
Yeah. Yeah.
so but
Yeah, that's wild. Do you think like what if you had like an item that
Oh.
is like let's say a car or something, and you say, or a blender, right? You have a
Yeah.
blender.
Uh-huh.
It's given to you and said this is the best blender in the world. It's going to improve your life so much, right? You can blend anything in this and it will be delicious every time. It will never like it will never be dull. It will
Great.
always work. You don't even have to manage the cord. It just turns on. It's like magic. Don't have
Okay.
to replace the battery. It's the best blender in the whole world.
Uh-huh.
But it has this one problem. This problem that it might just literally like singe the whole apartment and burn everything to the ground.
Oh, like a space
Well,
heater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like explode. It will just explode and kill everyone around it. It'll just
Okay.
explode and kill you. It's like, would you use like that blender?
no.
But what if it
What's
was
the-
like, what if it was a different, more enticing object, like a bike or like shoes? But like helicopter, that's like what I'm saying. Like you have get on a helicopter,
Yeah,
which is
that's
what the
it.
point you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's like you have
Not worth it.
alternatives that are like just as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would I? Yeah, exactly.
I could get it. I could have the best blender in the world, or
Yeah,
I
but
could have the best blender in the world and it doesn't
But
explode.
if I was famous
Sometimes.
and I had to pay money, I would pay money for like an RV. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Take me places, hire a driver, and take me places.
Or like one of those.
It'll be longer, but at least it won't blow up, most likely.
Mhm.
yeah.
Or like one of those like Mercedes vans, kind of bigger, like
Yeah,
retro.
the sprinter, exactly.
fit that.
Sprinter van.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Oh fuck, I would love a sprinter van. That's
Those
what
are like the like they're just fucking massive, right? They're just like
No.
really big. They're not.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. No,
They're like
they're,
medium size.
You know,
Oh.
Amazon. You guys have Amazon drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are massive. Those are big.
What are you talking about?
They're
Dude?
not the biggest. I get what you're
Like,
saying, Jesse,
relative
but
to
like they're not the
what?
biggest.
Like just like a normal car on the road. Not like a
Yeah, it's
tour
van.
bus or
It's a
something.
van.
But it's like bigger than like what a typical van is. They're big.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a little bigger. I wouldn't say that they're like bigger, but they're definitely a little bigger.
Okay,
Okay.
like
They're
if
a
we're
little
taking
bigger.
if we're taking like a Humvee or something, like a military grade Humvee, like that's a big boy. But like
huge.
like what would you put between like that big boy and an Amazon van? Is there a bigger boy or girl, a bigger boy or girl bigger than an
Yeah,
Amazon
it's
van but
called-
smaller
yeah.
than a Humvee?
A U-Haul truck.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, but
Empty truck.
then I feel like that's in the different tier. That's in like a different tier because that's like bigger
Yeah.
than like a Humvee.
Well,
Okay,
so
that's
is a
like-
Humvee and a
also-
delivery van. Those are two different things. Like delivery vans are taller than Humvees.
Oh, that's a good
Well,
point.
here's
Yeah,
the-
that's a good
here-
point.
Well, okay, this is the part that I'm like not confused, but this is I think what you guys know. A Ford F-150 is like the same size as that sprinter van.
Mhm.
It's the
It
same
is?
length. It's just that the van has like it's just taller. That's it.
Oh,
Not
okay.
wider. It's not like it's just it's
The
not
size.
like it's the same size to me as like an F-150.
Okay. Okay. I haven't like thought about that. Like, because I haven't seen an Amazon van bigger like next to an F-150 because
Yeah.
like I've only experienced it
They're
when I've been
big,
on
for
foot.
sure.
Yeah. And it's like
But-
they're
Yeah.
big on foot, but most
anyway.
cars are.
So yeah, those vans, I really want one of those because they're fucking awesome. Because
You should have taken it.
Yeah, steal
With
it,
you.
man. Missed opportunity, bud.
Yeah.
Could have had
Daddy-
one all months ago.
Yeah,
Well,
Daddy Bezos has enough money. You won't miss one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You could just you can just like flee in the van, just live in the van and flee.
Well, that's what I'm saying, dude. There's so many like companies, so many cool companies that like you could like renovate your sprinter van or like
Uh-huh.
make it like a camper van or make it like whatever you want. And,
Yeah.
like it's just really sick. And like there's just some really cool companies that do that.
Would you like do that and like hop in the van and just go places?
Yeah, dude. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, man.
Cool.
Have
You
my
can do.
lady friend or my dog and my dog. Just fucking,
Lady friend or dog?
Dog.
we're both
There's room enough. You can choose both.
Actually, my friend Max said something really funny. He was like, I just want, because he's a good skier,
Yeah.
and he's like, yeah, dude, I just want to get one of those, a cameraman, put skis in it, and just chase powder. Which is, what that means is like, if there's not powder in, Colorado, he's driving to Utah and ski
Yeah.
that mountain. Yeah, that's
Dang.
a sick idea. If you have the money to do that, that'd be a sick idea.
Yeah, that's
That'd
an
be cool.
expensive world tour, but it'd be cool. Chase powder, man.
Chase powder.
Chase powder. I've never heard that before. Is that like a? I guess that's probably like a common ski phrase.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like chasing powder,
Powder.
probably not, but powder is like the perfect ski and snowboard like conditions.
Texture.
You want to go skiing right after it snows, like literally right after it snows. It's like that's when you want to go immediately.
Is it smooth and slick?
Oh yeah.
And it hasn't sunken in to turn to ice.
And it's just like that is like because we went skiing on a powder day. That's what they call it in Aspen. But you go and it's just like it makes skiing so much easier because you're not like turning on kind of patted down ice or snow.
I feel like if you were trying to ski, or if I was trying to ski, it would just be so scary to ski on like really packed, almost ice snow. Like because
it's just more hard. It's just more hard on your body.
Hard, like you mean like when you fall?
Like the impacts of like skiing.
But also when you turn, you have to like more like dig into the snow.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
Because like the powder stops you.
Yeah.
It's like there's more traction. So when you don't have that traction, like you're gonna just have to. It's just you have to turn more and sharp.
Gotcha.
Just not.
Okay. Well, now this has got me thinking about skiing. And was skiing invented like for the journeyman who went and found all of the countries to be found? Like the people going to Antarctica and places, like they invented skis like for the winter and for that reason, right?
Yeah.
And then when did it transition to becoming like recreational?
Probably pretty soon after that.
Yeah, probably Industrial Revolution. I gotta say, when people had free time.
Skis, they were like, yeah, just fucking go down this mountain, dude.
Yeah. I guess like it would come from snowshoes, right? Like you think you have snowshoes and they're just like, all right, you can tromp around on these little paddles with things in it. And then you're just like, well, what if we zoop around with some sticks? And I'm just like, this is pretty sick, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was probably for people to like, being serious, it would be they're probably for transportation in places like Antarctica, not Antarctica, no one fucking lives there. But,
like Finland.
Actually, there's a science team. There's a small community of people living in Antarctica. I watched a YouTube video about it.
There's a great Werner Herzog documentary called fuck, I can't remember.
That's a weird
That's a good name, yeah.
But it is, if you just look up Werner Herzog Antarctica documentary, it'll come up.
It'll pop up,
It's very good, but it's about that. He visits the team that lives there.
That's cool.
Great, otherworldly place, Antarctica.
Yeah.
Otherworldly place. But no, it's probably because just for transportation, like
getting from place to place.
Like, oh, this is kind of fun.
This is sick.
Yeah, and with like skis too, you don't sink in, so it's like you can like, I guess skiing is the verb from it, but like either you can walk through like waist deep snow, or you can like ski on top of it.
Right.
So you're gonna ski.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know what cross country skiing is? Justin?
Oh yeah.
I've heard of that, but
yeah. So that's like it's a professional sport, but it's also like something that you can do where it's literally that, where you're on skis and sticks and you literally go across trails and you go like cross country. Like cross country. The running.
The running.
But
so what? So like, is there just like a path, a continuous path of snow you can, like, how is this, like through states we're talking about?
Sometimes, yes. So it's like
Is it?
any like trail. It can be. Wisconsin has some up through the UP, I know.
That's cool.
Wow.
But like, so like some of them are like plowed. Some of them are
Yeah.
like parks or like trails that are normally like in the summer hiking trails. But like in the winter, and some of them are like specially made so you can ski on them
Mhm.
or like not. And then some of them are also like snowmobile trails, and like you have the vehicles, and on the side you have the little
Yeah.
cross country skiing lane kind
Yeah.
of thing.
The thing that
Wow.
I like to say about this is what now I'm starting to think. Like, yeah, so snow skiing was definitely invented. Like, it was invented probably for practicality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Water skiing was definitely not. Like,
No,
there was definitely, that was just more for fun. That was just like,
yeah, that was in the 50s in
oh, now I
Minnesota.
would have loved to see the first people to try that.
Yeah, that'd be
I think
wild.
I think there's a photo of it actually.
The
Dude,
first
The first,
person,
yeah.
if
because
I,
that's like you just strap yourself to a motorboat and you're on skis and you go
you gotta
vroom.
strap yourself. But,
Yeah, yeah,
water skiing's crazy. Water sports,
yeah, they
dude,
got a photo of it.
I couldn't even talk about it because if I could swim, I would I would fuck that shit up, man. I fucking
Oh
love
yeah, because that water, you should just plug it for a second. Just plug it for a second and go water skiing.
Yeah,
You can't. You can't.
Yeah.
You don't have any
damn.
hands when you do it.
Oh yeah.
You're holding
Well, you
on to
can
the
wave. You
rope.
can go like, whoa.
Yeah, one hand like this.
Okay, then you're looking like something a little different doing that.
Yeah,
That'd be sick
plugging it
though.
in. No, but I wouldn't want to see on wakeboard. This is one of the coolest.
That's when you
sports
have the big
ever.
thing that like takes you up in the air, right?
That's a paraglide.
No.
Oh.
Or
What's wakeboarding?
something.
Wakeboarding is just like, it's water skiing is, you have two skis or one,
Huh.
and you hold on to a rope, you get towed by a boat, and you kind of go in and out of the wake. So the wake is, like the wake is, well, I guess you don't know, but the wake is kind of
Yeah,
the
it's the trail
wave,
from the boat.
yeah, the
Yeah.
wave that the engine creates. And so wakeboarding is it's a board, and you are getting pulled, and the idea is to use the wake to like get air and like do tricks
Oh,
and stuff
okay.
like that. Um, yeah, it's really fucking cool.
But that's different than like water skiing
It's
because
similar, very similar.
Yeah.
because like water skiing, you're not necessarily attempting to do
Yeah.
crazy twicks.
And then there's something called wake surfing, which is different than
Oh, yeah.
wakeboarding.
Yeah, what's
Wake
that?
surfing is really cool. Wake surfing is more niche because you have to have a specific boat to do it. Like you have to have a pretty like it's expensive to wake surf.
Mm-hmm.
But what you do is you get this boat, like my family friends have a wake surfing boat, and it's what you can do is you can create the wake. So you can create how big the wake is, how small the wake is, how wide you can make the wake, and with that, you get a surfboard, like a wake surfing board, which is on a regular wakeboard, you strap in. You put your feet in, you strap your feet into it.
Okay.
But on wake surfing, you don't. It's just a board with grip tape on it, and
You just
you
stand on it.
Hmm.
Wow.
go and you make the wake like bigger, more like a wave, like you were
Yeah.
surfing. And the idea is that you hold onto the rope for a little bit, and then you let go of the rope, and you just surf on the wake.
Yeah.
And so that shit's really cool.
So like I guess
Yeah.
you couldn't do that. Like why couldn't you do that like on a normal boat? Like because like the wake because
Yeah, they need a bigger wake.
You need a bigger wake. You need a big wake to do it because you don't have you don't have like the yeah, you need a bigger wake.
okay.
It's a normal boat wake on a speedboat is not big enough to wake surf. Like you could theoretically like hold on to it and just like do that, like
Mhm.
hold on to the rope and stay on the board. But you
Mhm.
can't like actually wake surf. Like you can't let go of the rope and like surf on the wave. This is not big enough. It's like
Interesting.
surfing.
Yeah, there's a
Interesting.
video I think of like Mark Zuckerberg doing it in Hawaii that was like popular like a
No,
month or so
Mark
ago on Twitter.
Zuckerberg, he was doing something called that thing is so funny looking. That thing, I can't remember what that thing's
It's
called
like a
now.
hydrofoil almost.
Yes, no, that's what it
That's
is.
it.
Hydrofoil?
That's what it's called. I'm pretty sure it's
Okay,
called
hydrofoil. Okay,
hydrofoil.
yeah.
That thing is fucking bizarre as shit, man.
What is that?
So it's a surfboard. It's like a cruiser board on it, like a skateboard, like a bigger longboard basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it has this like fin thing at the bottom, and it basically and you have a remote, and it's like electrically powered. It's basically like you know that electric skateboard I have that's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like that but on the water.
Weird.
Very
So
cool. Watching
so
people
are
do it is
you
very cool.
just like on it by yourself? Like you don't
Yeah, you're
have a
literally if you have
board?
a remote, you're literally like on a
Whoa.
board like propelling through the
Bang.
water.
It's kind of like
I don't know
it's like
how that shit works.
a motorized paddle board.
Yeah,
Pretty
That's
much
something I did for the
a
first time recently.
smaller
really.
paddleboard.
Yeah, a
But like
paddle
you go
board.
out of the air too on the hydrofoil, which is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Like you jump waves, or will
No,
you just take
it's
you
like
out?
the fin like keeps you up. So like
Oh, I know what you're talking
it's
about. I
really bizarre.
totally know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
It's
Yeah,
super
that those
bizarre.
things are funky.
Apparently they're really hard to ride. Like it takes a lot of time to like learn how to do it.
But yeah, like balanced, I imagine, because it's
Yeah,
like you
balanced,
have
but
to.
also it's just a weird feeling of being on it. Like it's just like it's just I think it's not easy. Like I think you
I
have to
imagine it'd be kind of like trying to stand on a buoy or something.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I guess. Yeah.
I would think it's a little more stable than that, but I don't know. I'll
Might be
never
hooked in
go.
too, maybe, or strapped
Those
in.
are also expensive as fuck. Those are like
Mhm.
very expensive.
Yeah, those are for the
Like I don't
millionaires.
even think I think most people rent them. Like they don't even buy them. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a weird thing to like. Well, I guess you own like boats for recreational. There's a lot of
oh yeah,
shit
of
that
course.
people own that are just fun. So I guess people could own a hydrofoil. They would.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you
Yeah.
have,
I mean, they do probably.
if you live by a lake or you live by an ocean, fuck yeah. If I could swim and I had the money, I'd be like, and I wanted to do that. Fuck yeah, I'd buy that. Yeah,
Yeah.
fun
They're
as
like
shit to
six
go do.
thousand bucks.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Oh,
money.
Just looked it up.
That's
So
a
pretty
lot.
expensive.
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, it's pretty expensive for that
I
thing.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's a
cheaper than
lot.
a boat, though.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I
well
guess
I'll buy a
Mhm.
boat more before I
Yeah.
buy a hydro foil.
yeah, a boat's more useful. I mean, you can party on a boat. You can't
Very
Yeah,
party
you
on a
can
true.
drink on
hydrofoil boat.
it'd
You have the
be harder to
smallest.
drink on a hydrofoil.
Yeah, exactly.
You could buy two hydrofoils for $12,000, which is still probably cheaper than most boats, and then
the
you could
Yeah.
have a
best
2-man wobbly party.
the best
Maybe.
boats are pontoon boats that are basically just party boats
Uh-huh.
that are like it's just like a giant. It's literally just designed for parties, just like
Yeah, people on it.
funny.
Isn't that? I thought a pontoon boat was like. Is it like was like the inflatable thing? I imagine a
No,
pontoon was being essentially a lifeboat.
well, I don't know. We
Mm,
called the boat that they had, my friends had. They call it a pontoon boat, but I don't
Okay.
know if that's what it's actually called.
yeah,
But
my family used to have a pontoon boat when we had
that's
a
funny.
cabin in Wisconsin.
What
That's
does it look
funny
like?
shit.
It's like two, I don't know, it's like a pontoon that's like two metal ones, and then you kind of have like a flat top
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
like a boat. So it's like sitting, and then you got
yeah.
like
It's
the
like
ceiling wheel.
But what's a
it's
pontoon?
well, I think that's what it is.
Okay,
But what?
like those like planes that can land on water.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the things that touch the water are pontoons. They're basically like metal buoyant things.
Oh, okay. And that's a pontoon boat is two of those things stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, or three if you want to get freaky.
So where do the people go? Is
On
there
top.
like
So you have the pontoons, and then you have the top, and then all the people live up here.
okay. Well, let me look up a picture. That will probably help.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that was what ours looks like
Oh,
almost.
gotcha.
Oh, this is what
See,
yours look like. That's fun.
So
Yeah.
so the way I was imagining this, I wasn't imagining like a normal boat on top of those pontoon types of things. I was imagining 3 of those pontoons stacked on top of each other vertically. So it's just like it's a single line of pontoons. So it's like, where does anybody go? But
I don't know either.
That makes a lot more sense. I get that.
Yeah, boats
It's
are fun. I have a good time. I like going to the lake and stuff. It's just so sad whenever I do go, because like I would love to water ski or wake surf. I would love to do that shit.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
would probably get like addicted to wake surfing. I'll probably like get really hurt doing it.
Are you know how to do you know how to swim? Or because
I mean, I know how to swim, but it's like hard for me to like. I physically can't
be in the water? Yeah.
because it's just like I mean, I could go in the water, but the problem with like doing water sports is you're gonna go underwater.
Yeah.
And I can't go underwater for a certain amount of time. But
That's
also, like, I
crazy.
can't really go under at all. I have a hole in my neck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You're like
Makes it
you're
a little
like
harder.
A hole in your neck. Like, you're
You're
not
like
going underwater.
you're
Yeah.
like Bruce Willis. Your only weakness is water. Bruce Willis and Unbreakable,
Oh,
to
yeah.
be clear.
There you go. But yeah, wow, that was a riveting conversation about fucking boats.
I didn't know any of that. I learned a lot.
The more you know.
The more you know.
What?
Today's
Should we talk about the even more riveting Twilight 1?
yeah, dude, let's do it.
Yeah. After about an hour. Yeah.
It's been an hour for real.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Talk about boats and skis.
We started with mysteries and we just talked about mine, never your two, by the way.
Well,
That
Alex is
mystery was
Sasquatch.
Okay,
That was
Sasquatch.
definitely
Okay.
my mystery.
I do have a mystery. You guys want to hear my mystery?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Okay.
why not?
My mystery is that sometimes when I sit on the floor of my apartment, there is a buzzing sound that sounds like a washing machine, but the washing machine is like two floors lower than like the floor right below me. So
Dude, is that the same sound that remember when I was there?
yeah.
You just like heard this random sound. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, it probably
I
was
had
that.
no idea what it was.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
thought it was the fridge. We like walked up to the fridge like, what is that?
What is this sound? What is this sound? I forgot about that. Yeah,
Well,
but it's
That's
that one.
weird.
Under
It's
the
that one.
influence of the Colorado substance. So that also could have helped.
Which is all Colorado substance being water, of course.
You got a lot of it.
Lot of
All those
water.
mountains, snow, and skiing.
A lot of water.
A lot of Colorado water. A lot of that stuff.
You got to put it in the apparatus first, though.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what that
You should
that
send
humming
a
sound
letter
was.
to your landlord.
Hey, there's a hum. It's coming from downstairs. I don't know what it
Not an
is.
email, not a text, a letter.
A letter. What about a fax? Can I fax my landlord?
That would be better.
Weird hum.
That would be best. That would be best.
Sincerely, Jesse.
I would love to have a fax machine. Dude, I think
Yeah.
we all had a fax machine and we faxed
Well,
each other.
we do. Most people do have a fax machine because their printer can fax shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could fax each other. Well, I don't have a printer, so
There's a problem.
There's
Could
something
you-
so like cool and cinematic about a fax machine. 'Cause
Yeah.
You just send somebody like this piece of like a message on a piece of paper and they don't even like know it, you know?
You could also just email.
you could send people
No,
a
but
message
that's
on a
not
piece of
cinematic.
paper.
Exactly. I'm saying
Oh,
it's
good
not
point.
cinematic.
Never mind.
Getting an email is not cinematic. A
So
fax is cinematic because when you're sitting at your desk and you hear this random piece of paper printing, oh fuck, what does it say? And you walk over to it and it says, I'm gonna kill you. It's not as cool to get an email. I'm gonna
Yeah.
kill you. Oh.
ding ding.
Yeah. IMing somebody. I'm going to kill you.
That's what I'm gonna fax to you, Zach.
All right. We
Let's
don't have a
talk.
phone line, though.
I'm gonna
Let's-
scare you.
Let's do
Oh, yeah.
Twilight. Let's
All
talk
right.
about this. Let's talk about this big old
Alright.
piece of beauty.
So
It's-
Twilight,
this is
We're
the last
fucking-
one that we
we're
watched.
fucking here.
We did it.
Yeah.
We watched the whole
Twilight.
thing.
Watched the whole thing. I wanted to tap out a couple times.
Yeah. I can't believe you wanted to top out of this movie more so than the other ones, though.
I'm
You were
glad it's
done.
over.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's over. It's just these movies make me want to die. It's so cringy and it's just every time I watch one of these, I'm just like, this is just unnecessarily cringy. Like, it doesn't have to be like this.
Yeah.
Why is it like this? Like, why can it just be this harmless, weird thing? But why does it have to be this weird, cringy emo? Like, it's just so not my thing at
I
all.
know.
That it's to the point where there are parts of this that make me laugh. There's things about this whole series that is very funny. But at the end of the day, to me, what I've learned about watching all the Twilight movies is I don't want any part of this.
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah.
any more part of these Twilight movies. I wouldn't consider myself a fan. I would say
I was close.
I watched them once and I thought they were entertaining because I watched them with my friends, but good lord, I hate them. I hate them so much.
Yeah.
I just hate laziness. This whole series just represents laziness.
Yeah. I mean,
man.
it's like it's a bad kind of movie in a way where it's like it's different than like other movies that are really bad because it doesn't have any charm whatsoever. It doesn't really it's not really that funny throughout most of it. Like I wasn't like the dialogue is just bad. It's not even funny. It's just really boring. And like the other thing that I thought about after Zach sent us that picture of it without like the blue tint is I really realized it was just like this was like basically not even a movie set. This was just like people shooting bad footage, bad shots, like with like a really expensive camera probably, but just taking these terrible shots that aren't even lit and just taking them into like iMovie Maker and changing the filter. Is what all the movies feel like.
It probably wasn't like that, but it seemed like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just. But let's get into it though, because at the end of the day, though, I mean, I did have fun watching these movies because they are just so they're. I like watching these because they are even like made. And not only were they made, it's just an interesting cultural, like we were here at one point, you know,
yeah,
like blockbusters were
right.
And it's good that we've evolved. I mean, I think there are some franchises that are pretty horrible that are still around today, but I don't think nearly as bad as these.
Yeah.
Not like a yearly franchise that come out every year, you know?
Yeah. Well, I feel like
what came out every year for 5 years.
Yeah. I feel like part of what the situation kind of reminds me of is that Twilight was so successful because of how it manipulated like so many young people to be just obsessed with it. And it's kind of like YouTube now where it's just like these trends that just really entice these young people. So it's nice that they're not in the movies as much, but
interesting like flip because at the time the big blockbuster and the big young adult movies were the Harry Potter movies. And this was almost a complete like anti Harry Potter where it was like oh, you know, Harry Potter represented everything that was good, you know, and about teenagers and everything that was, you know, the charm and the youthful quality in them. But this represents the ego side and the fucking, you know.
Yeah. Well, it also sort of like on that, it's like you have vampires which are like supposed to be evil, like they're, you know, satanic or I think in Harry Potter, I don't know if they're in them, but like werewolves, like they're in that same, and they're
Yeah,
evil.
werewolves are in Harry
Here it's
Potter.
like
Yeah.
we're gonna sexualize them and make them
Right.
like dark and moody, but like in a sexual way.
Right.
Yeah.
And then but it ultimately like just kind of becomes like just kind of creepy, and which is the funny part of it is that
Mhm.
these movies just are like weird. Like there's just no chemistry. There's no anything, and it just makes this vibe that only Twilight could really give you. I
Yeah.
guess I'll give it that, where it is
Mhm.
a weird vibe. It
Yeah.
is
I
a
mean,
very cringy
I
and odd vibe that these movies give you.
feel like what this like Twilight as a story is just like one of these really bad romance novels that is just in a
Yeah.
strange setting, which is not really probably that much more unique than like any others. It just so happened that this one like got the fan base and got a film series made about it. But
Exactly.
it's just like a really bad romance novel.
Yeah. I mean, I think 50 Shades of Grey honestly are worse. Like, those movies are actually worse than
Yeah.
if you can believe it or not.
Yeah.
But, like, anyway, so let's start talking about this. This movie opens up with with Kristen Stewart introduces Bella, and she's talking her poems like I don't know how I'm gonna die, but you know, like
Oh yeah.
looking forward to it or whatever she's saying. And then we watch this
Me
deer
too,
get
Bella.
hilariously killed by a um a
A vampire.
Edward, I think. I don't know if
Oh.
it was Ed.
Yeah, it was never described who
I
killed the
don't know
deer.
if it was Ed or not. But
Wait,
yeah,
yeah, it is,
it is
isn't
Is
it?
Ed. I think
It's
so.
Edward.
Yeah, I think it
it
is.
is Edward. It is the man.
It's Eduardo. It had to
Ah,
be him.
yeah. Who else could it
Um,
be?
and yeah, so like she's
The other
going.
vampires.
Her and her dad are moving to
Yeah.
Forks, Washington, and then we're introduced to Jacob, who I guess Jacob's dad and Bella's dad
Yeah,
have some kind of relationship.
I was really hoping that that would be the setup for this movie. Like they set
Yeah.
up like that his dad's relationship with the police chief and that Jacob's their son and they've
Right.
like known each other for a long
Yeah.
time. But that's like Jacob is introduced just like he is in all the other movies, just like this is Jacob. They're like, hello.
Yeah.
There was
Right.
more introduction of Jacob in this movie than any other movie. And now
Yeah.
it's like, oh, now we know how these people know. Doesn't come up for the rest of the series that they were
Yeah.
like childhood friends. That's like,
Yeah.
here's this character, she knows it, forget it.
Well,
Yeah.
also, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not even convinced that they were childhood friends. Like,
Yeah.
Good
I
point.
really don't like because when they first meet, like just have no chemistry whatsoever, and they
Yeah.
don't give any vibes that they like knew each other. Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought they
on
were
the
meeting each
wiki,
other.
it says reacquaintance at
Yeah,
that point.
it doesn't seem like that though.
No, it
But
doesn't. No.
it seems like they just
Yeah.
met each other for the
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it just. I would have hoped that this one would be like, oh, okay, I understand why there's like a love triangle. No, you realize that they just fucking threw in this love triangle because love triangles are cool and they're
Yeah.
popular and
Yeah.
fucking teenagers are going through love triangles, I guess. So let's fucking put a love triangle in here and let's just
I,
make Jacob hot. He wasn't hot
yeah.
in the first one. He's not hot enough in the first one. Jacob, you gotta get ripped. Cut that fucking hair off. Ripped.
I,
Hot.
yeah. I never read the like source material for this movie and the vast collection of everything that it needs. But like it seems that old Jacob is to set up like the vampires, and then they're like, oh, this is really popular. Let's make a love triangle now. So then
Yeah,
they just took, well, who's the next hottest guy? And it's like, oh, Jacob, let's make him this love triangle.
I haven't read the source material, but I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Jacob's a tool. He's a tool in this. He's not even a character.
Well,
It's just
he's
like,
a tool. I mean, he's not a tool in this movie, in Twilight. He's a tool in the other ones.
Yeah, are you talking about? Are you saying?
Guy.
Are you? No, I think Zach means like tool, as in like utilitarian tool, like a tool
Yeah.
to be used for the
He
plot.
just gets Bella to know that they're vampires by saying why about the tribe.
Tool,
that's it.
As in a wrench.
Yeah.
Not
as a
as
plot
in,
device.
as in like
but
a
he
jerkwad.
Is a tool in the other movies.
He is, yes.
Yeah.
To be fair, he is a pretty large tool.
He's a multi-tool.
Yeah, well, that's funny too when that comes out of nowhere, right? I mean, they kind of set up in Twilight that there's tension between Edward and Jacob. There is hinted very, very subtly.
Yeah, and poorly.
And poorly.
Yeah.
Kinda. It's just Jacob just gives him a look and like, I don't really like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a vampire.
But you don't know that they're werewolves yet. Like that's not a thing in this movie.
Introduced the werewolf and Jacob's love for Bella, and that's what created this rift between Edward and Jacob and the pull to get Bella. You know, Twilight.
Yeah, but they weren't friends before.
It's so exhausting. Like Twilight's such a perfect example of like a movie that's just a shell of events that tend to happen in movies that are somewhat similar to it. It's just like it has no cohesion. There's no idea. It's just like sometimes in movies like this happens to these characters and they do this.
I think that this series, I honestly to God, might have the worst like villain in like cinematic history. Like the villain in this movie is just a vampire who wants to eat people. That's it. She's just like a bad vampire, and they carry this fucking redhead bitch through like all of them basically until the fucking end. The last part with like Martin Sheen's character, the Italians are like, "Oh, we're here too, and we don't like you guys." You know? It's just like the word. Like, why are there even antagonists in this? Like,
I don't know.
It's so pointless. Like,
they don't come in. They don't come into like the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's always pointless. In all of the movies, they all end with like this generic ass like vampire fight, and then like they just go away. To be fair, this one had the best one-on-one vampire fight and like scene at the end. Because there was like, I don't know, it just felt more like cinematic.
They lit and choreographed at least 3 shots. It was kind of cool.
It felt unique to Twilight. But then they just did that for the next 5 movies or 4 movies. Like they just recreated that scene, but like worse.
I think it was good too because it's like the other fights were just like in fields. This one had like it was Bella's former school. It was mirrors, vampires. It was like enough of a setting that made sense.
Yeah,
that was actually, like this is something in it.
That's actually a point about like the series as a whole, especially the later ones, because this one you could see was better because they had the high school as a setting.
Yeah,
because they had like they have like good like places where they are, but in the later movies when they're not in the high school, they're like at the Cullens house or literally in a field, and those are the only 2 places.
The prime example of like, did they shoot this in a place? Like it looks like that they just shot in blue screen rooms and just filled in the shit later. Like,
it's amazing though that like they shot was probably so many like blue screen rooms and they just put like the same shot like on the blue screen. It's just like put them like in like lava or something just for the shot. Like just standing in lava.
There's volcanoes around here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just a random lava. Just show up in a volcano.
What if the head vampires aren't in like Italy, but like Charlie Sheen shows up in like one of the volcanoes? Like, come on.
I would have liked
or Martin Sheen, whatever it is.
Charlie
Sheen. What if he was just like the drug addicted vampire?
I got tiger's blood.
I could, I kind of want to see that.
Yeah, I would look. I mean, that would have made this better. Nicolas Cage. They needed like an over-the-top actor in these movies. Like, they needed like someone like that to come in and just be like fucking insane.
Yeah, you could have kept the moody teenagers, but like the cheap, like Top Cullen, whoever his name was, Carlisle or whatever.
Carlisle,
like he needs to be someone that was way more over the top.
Yeah.
Like I don't effing care. People know I'm a vampire.
Like,
he was a brick.
I wish the performances were more like over the top, but they're like not. Like, the joke is that they're so understated. Like, that's the joke of Twilight is that Bob Pattinson's performances are so like lifeless and just like they don't even feel like they like love each other or want to look at each other.
Yeah, it's funny, because it's so it's so like strange to think about this as like the big Hollywood thing of the time, because movies now, like Fast Five, right? Not a great movie, but like they're doing crazy special effects and trying stuff, and like it feels like, I feel like the set of a Twilight film would feel like a student film. It'd just be like,
I mean, Marvel movies were coming out at the time.
Of Twilight?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I mean, but it wasn't. But I know what you're saying. It wasn't superhero time yet. Like the biggest blockbusters were Harry Potter. Harry Potter and Fast and Furious started to come up. Like Fast 5 came out like 2011 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like it's true. I mean, there's always this franchise always comes along, you know. Like 50 Shades of Grey was the next one. You know, that was like the sexy for all the teenage, well, for adult, for adults, but you know, the fucking soap opera.
The teenagers snuck in there all the same.
Yeah.
That was a crazy thing. Which Shades of Grey was based on Twilight too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a fan fiction of Twilight.
Yeah.
That book has hundreds of grammatical errors.
Yeah, the BlackBerry book.
On her BlackBerry.
I feel like
a horny woman who's a millionaire.
Anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it. I feel it feels really weird to think of Twilight like this movie was the only movie where chemistry was something I might consider to describe it, because
I mean, they actually like seemed like that they wanted to do a good job and that they cared. You know, the actors were
specifically like Kristen Stewart and Patterson.
Yeah. Bob, I wouldn't say is horrible in this, because after I watched this, I'm like, okay, Edward, there is a character to Edward that he's playing. You know? And not a good character, not a very interesting character, Edward, but at least there's like a character that he's not just like playing himself, you know?
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart just seems like she's playing herself. And she's just like weird. Like, it's just like, okay. Like,
well, I feel like it would have been
like her character's supposed to be like a tomboy gearhead, you know?
Yeah,
I don't get that
at
all. Like,
well, it's for me, it's like you have this girl who's from a divorced family, like coming in, so it's like you're gonna have some emotional issues, but then you also make the vampires also have them. So it's like if you had like a really happy person in the vampire, that'd be cool to see. But since like they're both like the exact same personality, it's like all right,
Mood City.
That's such a good point, because like a lot of all these movies have a consistent tone that's all I can describe is just like that's just like the tone.
They're over there now.
It's like I'm about to fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's such a somber tone.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens, but there really isn't a lot of dynamics.
Sunlight in this whole movie, apparently.
Yeah. Only plot sunlight when they need to sparkle.
Needs to glisten. You're beautiful.
But even the other vampires have personalities. It's just the Cullens that are so depressed.
Yeah.
Like there's that like
when they do have personalities, it's like who's her friend? God damn it.
Whose friend?
the 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 oh, the vampire calling that like befriends Bella.
Oh,
The seer person,
Yeah,
Alice.
yeah,
Alice.
Alice.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
has kind of a bubbly personality.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't compared to the other ones. When her
You know what I
boyfriend's
noticed?
weird.
Speaking
The
of friends on this
vegetarian.
one,
Uh-huh.
is that those two people like that, like the yearbook, don't show up again. They're just gone. Like a lot of Bella's friends are just gone.
Oh yeah, like her friend she made in high school, like at the
Yeah,
beginning.
Yeah.
it's
Like
only
there's a
Anna
few of
Kendrick.
them, but most of them are
Anna
gone.
Kendrick and I think the black lady. I think
Yeah.
they show up. That's it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, all
there's
her other friends. The
uh,
two guys, the
yeah,
weird nerdy Asian dude, and
and the blonde kid.
I hated that Asian dude.
Yeah. I didn't.
Everything he said makes like no sense. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was like the quirk. It was like the quirky, like nerdy character
Yeah.
who's like, I hate those people when they're in
And
movies. I
they were probably bigger in the book. Like it just seems like these people had lines and there were conversations, but
yeah.
that was just got so cut. But it's like we still need these five people in
Yeah,
there
it's just
because
like the
Yeah.
friends just feel
girls are gonna
so
get mad.
unnecessary. Even like Anna Kendrick's character just feels so unnecessary throughout the whole series. Like she's just
Yeah.
like there to be like, "Hi, I'm kind of
Yeah.
famous."
Well, here's like the weird thing about Twilight is that there's no story to grab onto at all, but like the suggestion to fix it is to take out stuff because like so much of it is
Well,
unnecessary. It's just like
what
just
they're
focus on
yeah, well,
less.
what they're like want you to like be wrapped up is the romance. That's what they're
Yeah.
trying to get you to like. That's
Yeah.
what this whole thing is.
But they don't know, but
Which-
like they don't know how to write like the arc of a romance. So they just fit in filler shit to kind of just write around the pieces that they do
Yeah,
kind of want to
exactly.
write.
That's like kind of the villain shit. It's like what?
Yeah.
There's no point for this vampire to show up. Like there's no point. The only point
Yeah.
would be like to have Bella in distress and for Edward to save her. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's right.
like the impetus of like their relationship is that Bella's at a table and they're like the Cullens are weird, and then her lab partner is there one day and doesn't show up next, and it's like who gives a shit if
Can
your
we
lab
talk
partner
about
ain't here
that?
for 3 days? Like
Yeah.
that's not a not
Yeah.
a connection. That's just you have
Can we talk about the first time Edward sees Bella?
That was pretty funny.
I
That was
mean,
pretty funny.
What a start to a relationship.
I don't understand, like, because he's just vomiting. Like, why? I don't know if they
Yeah.
explained.
I
Did they?
believe it was her scent
Okay.
because the other vampires, like when like the Cullens when she comes and visit for dinner, they
Mm.
like they're smelling her. Like, I can smell you from here. You know, so
Yeah.
I think
I can
she
smell
had
you
a
from
scent.
here.
I don't know.
Yeah. Wasn't it
Well,
also that
Or
he couldn't
Edward
read
was
her or
really
something?
hungry.
He couldn't
Yeah,
understand
that
what
too.
she's thinking
Yes,
too.
that too.
And
that too.
that made
Yeah.
him vomit. Interesting.
Yeah, he
I
was
guess it was
so-
that and the smell. Why? So
Yeah.
why? Because they does Bella smell more potent, perhaps more pheromone?
Yeah, that's something they don't explain.
Because like, how can they
Yeah.
go to a school? Because like, look at all those fresh little boys. Like, there's fresh boy and girl meat everywhere.
Yeah, why does she smell so bad?
Yeah, why does she smell so bad?
Weird. Yeah. Not showering?
But also,
It's
like, why do they ever explain why like he can't read her mind either?
Well, in the last one, they do.
Oh yeah.
She has
Which
a
is
she has a vamp shield. She has
Oh,
like
man,
that.
was when she became a vampire. She's not a vampire. At this
But
point.
she had that like before. She has like some kind of mind protection.
yeah,
Like
it's
they
like innate.
established as that as like a superpower.
I always try to give this like the benefit of the doubt. So it's like, is there something I'm missing?
No.
No.
Yeah, you seen it all. I think you
Yeah.
got it flat. This sucks,
She's
dude.
just like, she's got a superpower.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just has like a affinity
Yeah.
against
A mutant
vampires.
power.
Yeah, she doesn't. I don't think they even have. I don't remember a point. Look, we watched all these movies, and it feels like we're missing one. Is what it feels like, and
Well,
because
we're missing like the prequel. Like
Right.
this sets everything up. That's what we're missing. We're missing the Hobbit here for the Lord of
Right.
the Rings. Is what we're here.
also I just feel like that Kristen Stewart like is supposed to be some kind of significant person, but she's like not. She's not. She's just nobody.
She's only significant because she is a level.
Yeah.
With
And
Edward.
is a human and knows that vampires are real. Like that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and she is caught. Well, she's also caught in between the worlds of the vampire world and the werewolf world and the human world.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
I mean, it's
That's
not interesting. It's not significant. That's just, like who she is. She doesn't really do anything.
No.
Yeah.
She's one of the worst main characters in any series, like probably ever. Because she's so. All this is like all that you're like to remotely be emotionally attached to is like her relationship with Edward. But even that is it's so hard to it is so
But
hard to
even
attach to it. It's
because
so
like
hard.
because like Edward feels like he's not in a lot of like the rest of the movies just have so much other bullshit. Like he almost feels like a side character sometimes. Like they have scenes that remind you it's just like, yeah, this guy's kind of like what the book's about, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have that much screen time, it feels
It's
like.
just
Or
like
he does
weird
have
'cause
screen time, but he doesn't say anything.
Edward is just by
Yeah.
far the most interesting character, the more interesting character of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, why don't you Edward be the main character because it's more interesting, but Bella just being the main character is it's just boring, man. It's just fucking it's boring. But I love that fucking scene. He first meets her. I love it. It's so goddamn funny. It looks like that. Like I don't even know how you even directed Edward Pattinson to do that. Like,
I know.
okay, you are like what he does is so fucking funny. Like he
Yeah.
like starts twitching and he's like,
it's funny because you can see like now like looking at that I see his other performance like in High Life and like The Lighthouse and I'm like it's like oh yeah there's the actor who plays that and like in a moment like that
Goblet of Fire, that came out a year before this movie.
yeah but
he's great at that.
yeah and like that's like a situation where it's just like that he has like a couple of things where he like will really commit to like looking weird just to like get the performance or something like I like the shot I'm thinking of is at the very end when he's sucking the venom and he's like he's like he looks ridiculous.
Well, I don't even want to call it his fault because
it's not his fault.
Weird,
it's the context that they put him in because he like he like committed to the performance, but then they put him in the context where like it just like doesn't work at all.
It's also edited like garbage. Like they cut to like the shot that they cut to and like the reaction shot is so fucking weird. Like it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
But that was amazing. And then when Bella finds out again, like I thought the Googling only happened in one movie. I thought it only happened when Edward was like vampire baby. Oh my god, this is gonna be horrible. Like you can't have a baby.
This one made more sense than Googling vampire baby.
It made more sense, but at the same time, it's so goddamn. It's just so lazy. Like, why?
Well,
like,
isn't that what teenagers would do, though? Isn't that what you would do?
Sure, would do. Sure, but should do, no. Like, if you're trying to make an interesting film, watching somebody Google something and go, like, look at the research and, like, it's a vampire. It's just, that's not.
How I feel like they played that scene better in other teen movies. I can't think of an example right now, but you play it as like a comedic moment to make that work, right? You play it as like it stops and like the guy's like typing at it. But like the reason why it's so bad in that is that they put it to this montage of this being like a deep emotional pull or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like Bella getting invested or horror.
like isolate the words and they make it like a dramatic thing.
Yeah.
They're
And then she just
cold
goes to a
blooded.
bookstore.
Yeah.
I did agree with that. That makes it more stupid for me is that then she goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
Go
Do you
see
guys? Here's another plot question. When Jacob, so this is after she does the research and finds out that Edward is probably a vampire after Googling it. She is hanging out with Jacob on the beach, right? And Jacob is talking to her about quailets. Have we ever heard about a quailet before?
I don't remember. I don't know what.
No, that's the tribe that they are.
That the wolves
yeah.
are? They're
Yeah,
called the
that's like
quailets?
that's a real tribe up here around here. So
yeah,
okay.
For Native American
yeah.
tribe.
Okay, gotcha. I just
They
never
live
heard
on
that.
reserve, which is something that I wish that they explored more because a lot of reserves, Washington State, very interesting, very sad of what's going on there. There's not enough movies about that. There's not enough stories about that. So I thought this is probably an opportunity where they could have probably explored that a little more. But they didn't at all.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's sort of always a problem,
Watch
criticism of these books. And like I haven't read it, so I don't know exactly how well it's like not portrayed or how not well portrayed it is, whatever. But like that is one of the things, like you use these tribes and like take it completely out of context and do nothing in a term. You're just appropriating this really badly to fit
weird,
this.
Right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
It's almost using it as like a just as like a
stereotype maybe?
Stereotype or a just like a something to make it like interesting. Like to make it be like, oh, that's
like token
but not actually taking the time to like what it is like to live on a reserve.
Just like adding token diversity to create a sense of depth without actually adding any depth.
It's not cool to live on a reserve. It's not chill. So like I don't know. It's kind of a missed opportunity for them to like I don't know.
Yeah, because there was a weird thing because like it kept coming up in like conversations between the character where Jacob was like he was saying like get off my res, it's like he was trying to make it like it was a part of his identity. And I think the situation they were trying to set up was like Edward being high class and Jacob being low class, but like I didn't actually think about that for the whole time we were watching it. I've only thought about that right now that's probably what the intentions was to also create like that high class low class narrative. But it really does just change much more into just like appropriation.
And then also the vampires are really white, and then you have a group of people of color, and there is that dynamic in there which is intentional too in this movie, as you were just saying. So I think that ties into the class part.
Later on in the movies, like I forget which one, but like we see like his dad, the leader of the werewolf tribe, and it's just like a Native American ceremony, and it's just like fucking like weird. Like it just doesn't feel authentic. Like
it's also kind of weird to do it in the way they did because they kind of make it like the savages are werewolves. It's like that's kind of what the vibe is then, which is like really like not cool at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Maybe I'm just like I don't know. I'm just more keen on shit like that since I've seen films like Wind River. That kind of like opened my eyes to Native Americans and reserves and especially Washington State. And it's just like I think that there's just like when I see movies that just represent those people in this way, it's like wow, yeah, we really like just didn't care. Like we don't care,
Yeah.
And it's just like, geez, man.
I mean, I think that's like one of like seeing these movies like this, which are sort of a superficial like speckling of things that were thought kind of either subconsciously or consciously at the time, And I feel like that subtle racism essentially or whatever like is kind of is also like the other thing to that is just like how like uncomfortable and sexist like this movie kind of is. Maybe not like, I don't know if sexist is the right word, but just like how comfortable the sex relationships are in this. Like they're so toxic and weird like throughout this whole movie, and that was just like kind of presented as being
about the first like this movie specifically, but I would agree with you as this in the series as a whole.
Yeah.
When they got to Eclipse, that's when it got really fucking weird.
that movie is so creepy. It's so creepy.
It was so obvious that they knew their audience, and at that time it was, you know, the third film, and they knew their audience was just like a bunch of horny teenage women, but primarily. And so they just made it a love triangle where it was just
but it's not.
And Bella became an extremely unlikable. Actually, all the characters became extremely unlikable because they were just doing the horrible, neurotic, and illogical decisions. Like, why would Bella even flirt at the idea of even like she would like try to like, you know, pull with Jacob, and Jacob would be really toxic back, and it was just a horrible dynamic that was so clear that it was created just to create some drama or horny emotions out of the fucking audience, which is just so like not cool.
Do you guys think if like they were more likable, the sexual relationships would be like more okay or more excusable? If it's like you could tell that Edward and Jacob were in like love with Bella,
that would. I mean, I think
not to say it makes.
Because I mean, I don't think like just to act that like love triangles or things like that don't exist. They do, but the thing is like it's weird that they're so young. First of all, they're like high schoolers, especially in this movie. But I mean, she's like 18 or something. You know, it'd be different if they were like, they were likable characters and they weren't so toxic about it or so like gross about it.
I mean, I think the problem that happens with like the trajectory of the story is that they could have. I think you can make this work. But the problem with the trajectory of this story is that you set up like these really bad and toxic relationships and claim that it's like true love, and then resolve it to be true love as you get through like the movie, you know? And it's never like explained or presented or investigated for what it is, which is like a toxic relationship. And it never investigates like the lie that it's telling. Like, because you can do a story of saying it's just like they think that this is a great relationship and they end thinking it's a great relationship. But like the whole like thesis of the movie is just try to say that it's a great relationship when it's clearly not. It's not a good relationship. And you could make that could be an interesting story, but it's not an interesting story when you're just lying to me about like this is a good moral, you know, about how you should be in relationship with vampires. It's like it's not.
It's not. I can see that this is not.
I mean, I think all of what we're saying is true, but at the end of the day, I think like everything that we're saying almost like doesn't even matter because this was made to like they knew what they were making. Like they knew that they were making because people ate this shit up, man. People eat this shit up. Like soap operas are like I've seen just like episodes of Days on Our Lives where I'm like, what? Like what is it? I mean, I'm surprised that show got canceled for some of the shit they do. I mean,
that's actually.
Like
go ahead.
Shit up, man.
I was gonna say, like, part of that is that you don't have like actual characters, so then you can project your own self and who you want. So girls could like assuming girls, female, whatever gender, female identifying gender, can put it onto Bella and then make Edward or Jacob who they want.
Exactly.
And I don't know if that's intentional, but it seems like that's a possibility.
No. That is an incredible point. And I think
that's a really good point.
I think that's why this was so successful. And I think that has to do with a lot of the success. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, actually, when you talk about it like that, and like that really clicks with me, like what you said, Zach, and talking about like the soap operas, because this is just a soap opera. It's just a really bad soap opera. And kind of what it is it's like it's almost like a role-playing story for you to like imbue yourself in and kind of do the work of. It's like it's almost just feels like a movie version of like walking onto a carnival and like putting your face like where like Bella's face is, and it's just like you're in the movie and like experiencing it. It's like that's a really good point. That is what this feels
there's
like.
Also a flip side that's so like kind of sad about that too, because it's just like a lot of kids who maybe saw this like just didn't really think about how weird Jacob is, or how like
that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
like it's one thing for adults to see it and be like, oh, this is entertaining because it's entertaining because they're so toxic, and it's just like, wow, I can't believe they like did that. And that's kind of the enjoyment that we had of it. It's just like how ridiculous like this plot is, and how so
right.
I think there's definitely an audience that watched it the way that we did. There absolutely is.
Yeah, but that's not the audience that made it so much money. It was the manipulated audience.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's true, but like also if you're a younger person, you're exposed to so much, and you like if this is like preteen to teenager, like there's still a point to correct it. And like I don't want to say correct it because you getting what I'm saying here.
Yeah. Right.
Like if someone was like only diehard Twilight, then okay, there's some problem here.
Yeah.
But like if you're also like watching other stuff, I feel like it's like you either grow out of it or understand that this is not right.
Right. I see what you're saying. It's not like
I would think that most people grew out of it.
It's like that, all of this, like you look at all this old.
I'm also not saying if you watch Twilight you're gonna be like hypnotized and you're gonna be like a
right. No. But what it does do, especially to young people, is it like it confirms or like solidifies like these sort of subconscious biases and like judgments about how things should be or what's okay. So like you go into like the deep psychology, you have girls or whoever the fuck's watching this, or fucking boys who think that that's how they should act, and they do that, and then you have all these people in abusive relationships. They're just like, why do I keep getting these abusive relationships? It's Twilight, Jenny. Twilight did it to you.
I remember one of the first Twilight episodes we did. We brought up the age-old question of Team Jacob or Edward, and we all were like, why in the fuck would anyone Team Jacob?
Yeah.
Like, why in the hell would anybody even do Team Jacob? Oh, he's hot. No, Jacob is the psychopath of the series.
Yeah.
He is a crazy. He's literally like he's imprinting on babies. He wants to steal Edward's
resume.
He's like, dude. Yeah, like how the hell can you be like, yeah, I want his team? Why?
Yeah.
So
he's not that bad in this movie. Then again, he's not really in this movie.
Turns into like kind of a fucking psycho.
Yeah,
that is true.
Toxic dude.
And he's presented as being like the underdog that you were like, I know that Edward's gonna make it at the end, but I want Jacob to win. Like that's what he was supposed to be. But like what you said, Alex, he's just a creepazoid. He's just a creepazoid on legs,
Yep.
Creepy. And he don't have to be that creepy.
No.
Yeah. And he gets some redemption at the end, but it's like it doesn't make up for it.
Yeah. I was also just really weirded out and like creeped out by like just how much of a switch it was between like, because they're literally platonic in the first one, like totally platonic. And then like in the second one, it just comes out of left field.
Well, that's what it's just soap opera. So it's just writing where it's like, right, well, looks like they don't care about this thing called development. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
In the Twilight series, things just kind of happen.
Yeah. And I feel like in the
Edward's relationship, I wouldn't say that it even develops. I think that it is pretty consistent. And it's pretty just like the same.
They got 45 minutes and that's it for the rest of the series. Like you go up one flight of stairs and that's it for the rest.
You go up like halfway up a flight of stairs.
Like,
good point. And you don't like actually get to the top.
You don't get to another level.
what I would say about Twilight 1 is that it definitely feels more like a movie than any of the other ones do,
Absolutely, yeah.
because it has that concept of having like a beginning, middle, and end, which
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
all the other ones don't have. They just kind of have
Yeah.
scenes that happen
Yeah.
that start and
I
then
would
they
say
stop.
I would say that Breaking God does, like
That's
part
that's
one
the
and
only
part
other
two.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because that's the end.
but yeah, Googling the Eclipse are just like, why do these even exist?
The
Especially
one
Eclipse, man.
Yeah, that one might be the worst. That one was so bad. But the I feel like the other thing that's was interesting about Twilight, which maybe it's just like you watch enough Twilights and you're just looking for anything to grasp onto, but the fact that it introduces things is something that's interesting enough to like kind of
Hmm.
keep you for
Yeah.
like the first 30 minutes of like, because like the other
Yeah,
movies,
right.
even though they were like the first time I saw it, as soon as I started watching, I was just like, I don't want to be watching this. But like when we started Twilight, it was just like, I'm not looking forward to this. I don't like it, but like I'm curious to kind of piece together what's happening.
Right.
And that
Yeah.
lasted for like 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And then
Yeah, the
back to the
intro.
same old shit. Yeah,
And
the
that
intro.
answered
Yeah.
all the questions I had. And maybe because I don't know how to put the puzzle together, but at least I have all the pieces now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got all the corner pieces. That's what I get
I
from the
wonder,
first
I
45
wonder
minutes.
I wonder if that was more satisfying for us because we've been wondering that for like the last 4 movies.
Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like that. And then when you're talking before about the beginning, middle, and end, like
Uh-huh.
clearly Twilight was a book and then they made a sequel because the first one did
Yeah.
so well. And this
Yeah.
movie is like, you can see that. But you do have like, even though it's like halfway up a flight of stairs, you go from like first floor down to like a mid level. But you do have like a teenage romance story sort of.
Yeah.
That's like opens
Right.
and ends that then gets like reopened later.
Right, exactly. Because it's like,
Mhm.
because Twilight has the story that this crazy writer conceived, and then everything after that was just taking these characters and just like reopening in the book and just kind of like putting them in different scenarios. But like
Yeah.
it never developed beyond just that initial very bad romance story that was in this first one.
It's a fan fiction. All the other ones seem almost like fan fiction writing.
Yes, it's exactly what it's like. It's just
Yeah.
fan fiction of the first book. It's like, well, what would happen if they did get married? Or
Yeah. And
that.
what if Jacob was a werewolf? And what if there was vampires, other ones that are evil, and there was a big bad? It's like that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
I have not read the source material, so I don't know how deep it goes. The other books, I don't know how.
Honestly,
more goes. I would actually probably say that it's probably more interesting than the movies, but
Yeah.
I'm really curious. I think I might try to like find a PDF on the interwebs and like try to read through Twilight, because I'm just like so curious to see. What I want to know is where the shit came in. Like, is this shit from the beginning? It's like, yeah, probably pretty shit from like the novel standpoint.
yeah.
But like, did the really bad come in when the screenwriter started writing? Like the director? Like before the screenwriter? Like what trend? I think it starts with the source material. I think the source material is fucking poo garbage, Drano, hot Fago bad.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I don't really read books.
Hey, original text here.
Original text.
I don't really read
source material.
So I don't know. There are major successes, and so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, major success doesn't translate meaning good, But
yeah, I feel that's also like lightning in a bottle case here.
Whenever a book is really successful, I'll lean more towards, oh, it must be pretty good.
Yeah, no, I don't feel that way, because like books are, I feel like the same thing as kind of like movies. It's just that if you can get people like before TV was around, like the way you got people hooked was like this really easy dumb reading that kind of kept you hooked on like a stupid thing, like a romance, and can just string you along for like infinite number of series and stuff. So it's like I think Twilight's like that. I think Twilight's like that.
Yeah. Well, like even like this is a weird experience I have. I read like The Hunger Games a month after it came out and like half a year before it became popular. So like I
weird.
read it,
Yeah.
and like this was like I think over like a summer school English course I took once in like
Yeah.
middle school.
Yeah.
So like I read it and it's like okay, fine, and then it gets super popular. And
Yeah.
then it's like fine, and then I read the second one, it's like this kind of sucks. Like
Yeah.
I never
Oh, I
finished
mean,
it.
the Hunger Games was like the next kid series
Right.
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
was
Right.
that they were. Well, I'm not a huge fan of that series either. Significantly better
Yeah.
than this.
Right.
Yeah,
Even the romance aspect to the Hunger Games
yeah.
is like way more, way better, just way
Yeah.
more interesting. And that was really like the main part of it. There's a love triangle in that,
Yeah.
and that works. It's like an actual, not a weird one. That's
Yeah.
not a basic one.
You're totally right about that. And that actually makes me think about something else about why Twilight was probably such like the lightning in the bottle success it was, because Hunger Games, even though it had like the relationship thing in it, and it was like significantly better in quality by Twilight in probably every form possible, but like that actually kind of had like not well, okay, I feel like one of the things that had Twilight had going for it that got so many people interested in it was like the explicit like advertising around it. Like this wasn't
Mm.
like a good relationship. This was like soft core porn kind of like explicit type of thing. Like it was almost pornographic, but still socially
like, not at
acceptable.
all.
But it's not. Yeah, it's a lie.
Like, not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
But it's
well, even
not even anything sexy in this.
yeah, but like
No.
the cover
Well,
of it,
Vice for
it's
Lick a
black.
couple times.
Yeah, you're right. But like the cover is black and it has like white lettering, and I think the first one has like two hands and an apple on it. Like, hey,
Right.
it's a red
Yeah.
apple with black and white. There's something in there that's like
right.
gonna entice people.
It's really
Also,
it really
it started. I don't know if Twilight started, but the vampire craze. Like
sure.
there was a period of time where
Yeah.
there's just vampires for everything.
Which then ended up with Jesse's background right now. That's what this all leads
I
to.
was inspired by Twilight and I made this picture. Thank you for letting me put it in your gallery. It's called Twilight Poo Poo. Costs
But I
millions
will
of dollars.
say, out of the young adult franchises, this might not be the worst one. I
think
the
so?
worst Divergent. Pretty bad.
Oh, I have
never seen it.
Yeah, I haven't read or seen that. Looks like shit.
Awful.
It looked like I hate the Hunger Games. Like I think it's hot doggy trash. I didn't like the first. I haven't. I haven't seen the last one. I've seen the first and the second one, and I've read the first book. I didn't read anything else beyond that. But of the things I've seen, I think they're hot doggy trash. And Divergent in that whole series just looked like attempting to do the Hunger Game. Yeah, then that's like that is like the like my dick is so soft right now. Like that sounds like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
I like the Hunger Games when I was like a teenager.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like the first one. It's cool.
I hated that book. Burn it. Burn them all. I hated it.
Why?
I hated
Why
it.
did you hate it so much?
Because it was just drama. It wasn't interesting at all. And it was just like
drama.
It was just drama. Because it's like they set it up as being like some kind of like commentary on politics and stuff and all this, but it's just a soap opera. It's just a soap opera. Like we've been talking about Twilight and stuff. It's like a soap opera that has like a little bit more connections and themes connected to like the surroundings and things like that. But the story is just a soap opera. And it's just like, I don't care about this, even though it's in like you can put me in like a cool, like futuristic place and they do this thing that's like really like this or that, but it's just I just know it's a soap opera. I'm like I'm out of it like from the beginning.
I couldn't even comment on that because I don't even remember the first story very much.
I guess the plot, I don't know. I feel like I just focused in on the action probably.
Yeah. The thing about the Hunger Games, the thing that was different about the Hunger Games that comparing to Twilight, like why it's so much better in terms of like a story sense is not because of like the writing or anything like anything like that, but they have like these iconic moments, like Katniss getting called, right? Or like scenes in like the arena and stuff like visual moments that happen that people can remember and like are like arcs of the story. And that's something like Twilight doesn't have any moments, and the only moment is like the car scene, and that's like really goofy, or the fucking baseball moment. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because in Hunger Games, those plot moments like drive it.
Yeah.
Like this is like between her and Peta, it's like
Also,
when they almost like both kill themselves.
Movies, like,
yeah.
If we're talking about the movies, the performances are like maybe like 400 times better than
That's also really true.
That's also part of it.
Lawrence is fantastic in this. I mean, she wrote that that's how
she broke out. Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence. So like that, I mean, that was just such a better franchise than this. But even though I'm like not a huge fan of this, like I was way happier that those were successful than fucking this, you know?
Yeah.
There's effort in the Hunger Games movies. Like, there's action, pretty impressive action in some of them, and like, you know, it's just like this is just so lazy, man.
Yeah. And the special effects are not this them speeding up the camera running fast.
And then the werewolves are not just dogs. Like, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves about this whole fucking franchise. It's like,
are they just dogs?
Werewolf. Yeah. It's like design what a werewolf, like a werewolf, not just a fucking wolf. Like a big wolf. Like, bro, what fucking werewolf movie, TV, anything where they just turn into actual wolves? Like, werewolves are humanoid wolves. Like, that's what they are. And
well, not according to the source material.
What does the source material say? Does the source material actually say they're big wolves?
Probably.
Well, I feel like that's. I feel like this. I feel like this one werewolves were like wary being the part that people transform into them, not that they're like can stand on two legs and like I don't know hold a conversation with the cashier clerk or something while they're buying Doritos. Like not that, but like this wolves they transform into wolves.
You know what I bet happened? I bet that in the book, there's actually not that specific a description of what they look like or what they are. And so this was just like the easiest interpretation that they could do.
There's definitely a description.
But I mean, like, there's a description, but it's like so vague and like can be interpreted in any way you want it to be. Like they transform into wolves. It's like, what does that mean? Yeah. Different colored wolves, pink wolves.
I fucking hope so, because like Jesus Christ, man, like just like so fucking bad. Like this makes me so mad. It's just like you have this opportunity to like make werewolves, and you're just like they're just like
I found out that the person
all the fucking TV shows, movies, and shit that you can pull from, all the inspiration. All the different werewolves and all different cinema.
Nothing. Yeah. I found out that the same person wrote all the screenplays for this franchise. It wasn't different people, which I found to be astonishing. And I also found it
really quick, probably on the list of like.
Well, yeah, right. But this woman actually also made the series Jessica Jones, and I thought Jessica Jones was actually like really decent. Like she created it and like wrote it, and it was just like, wow, what a crazy way to start like with Twilight and stuff. And it's like it's not necessarily fair because you probably thought that was just going to be like paycheck, huge, terrible, like long script, but like if she wrote 5 scripts. It's like, and maybe she did that in one period. Like she probably didn't take her that long, but like those, you have to be invested with that for like 5 years. Like that's a long time to be. I just can't imagine like spending my life, like maybe just being on set is fun enough, like to carry you through like the experience of filming Twilight, but that just seems brutal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all right. I got it figured out. So apparently in the book, they don't call them werewolves. They're just wolves.
See, okay, that's what I thought. What I thought.
So I hate that even more because they're not even like, fuck this fucking. I hate it. Like they're not even like. So they're just called wolves. They're not called werewolves. They don't like make the point that they are werewolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just giant wolves.
That's so R-worded. That's so just like.
Very
Because
uncreative.
it's just like you're lazy as fuck. Because you don't want to invest in the lore that werewolves or vampires apparently
Yeah.
have.
Can I read this?
Yeah, is this from the book?
Yeah, so this is from shmoopa.com. This is chapter 10 of chapter 10 of New Moon.
Yeah.
I guess line 176.
Uh-huh.
The deep eyes seeming too intelligent for a wild animal. As it stared at me, I thought of Jacob.
Deep eyes, too intent for wild animal. While it stared at me, I think of Jacob.
Jacob. Yeah. So that's it. That's the reveal.
So that's a quote. Oh, that's the reveal.
That's the quote. Yeah, that's the reveal that these wolves that attack the vampire.
Oh,
The source material shit too.
I'm definitely gonna read Twilight now. Here we go.
Yeah. I think we talked about a lot.
Yeah. I can't believe it's over.
Episode that we really just deconstructed Twilight as a whole as a series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really just kind of blew me away like how insignificant really nothing happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And when things do happen,
they don't matter.
There's no moments for what Zach or I forgot who was saying, but there's no moment. There's no significant moment of the Twilight series that I can point to.
The most significant thing is everything that happens to all the non-named characters, like all the people dying, just because these vampires aren't. Like nothing happens to the main people. Everyone else in this town is affected.
Everybody, like we thought everybody died, and then it was like a dream.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Secret. Not real.
They pulled every bad one in the book. Every bad one that they could do, they kind of did it.
I just see that. I'm just, how dumb do you think we are? How dumb do you think the audience is? Like, do you really think that the audience is going to be like, "Wow, I didn't see that coming"?
Well,
titillated by that.
I bet what they wanted was to like risk like, oh, everyone dies, but don't worry, none of your favorite characters are actually dead.
Yeah, fucking lazy bullshit.
Definitely.
Yeah. Don't want the fan letters. Essentially, I think that's what that move was.
I wanna send in my fan letters, like the one guy who like takes the time to like complain about that. It's just like, your writing is weak.
This writing really weak. You need stronger verbs.
Stronger verbs.
In his mansion, sitting on his like pile of money, he's like,
What if that's the thing? It's like, your writing is weak. It's like, oh my god.
You're gonna break her. You're gonna break the directors and Stephanie Meyer.
Yeah, that's the thing that also makes like criticizing it kind of just feel like I'm yelling into like a pillow or something. It's just like if anyone hears that,
we are.
Yeah.
But I feel better doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's kind of like having to vent your experience of having to just experiencing it, because it was kind of a brutal and unpleasant experience. Just boring. It wasn't brutal. It wasn't that intense. It was just boring.
Just boring.
Yeah, it was funny. Like I do feel like that it took us watching all of these freaking movies to eventually come to like a companion, like a conclusion, because like before a companion. What's a companion?
A conclusion and an opinion. A companion.
That is what I was trying to say. A companion. I have bad companions about this movie. Many.
What would you all rate it? The whole series.
Bro, this is a trash out of trash, man.
We don't really rate things anymore.
Yeah, I would give this. I mean, I wouldn't give this stars. I wouldn't. Like, there's movies that are like worse. There's this, but like, I wouldn't give this stars. It's like, it doesn't. Okay. Like, it would maybe fall into that category. If 1 star counts as like, yes, it's a movie that's finished more so than a student film, then maybe it has 1 star.
What I will say is that the last thing I'll say about the Twilight series is that it is unique.
Yeah.
Not a lot of things like this in terms of, it's very like, when you watch it, it's like, this is a Twilight. Like, it's a Twilight movie. It's a really horrible tone, in a really horrible like vibe, but it's a vibe. It doesn't make
Uh-huh.
any sense. It's a unique, horrible vibe that they created.
Yeah.
You know,
How many stars does that deserve?
well, I'm not. That's the last thing I'll say.
That's a
It's just a really horrible. All I'm gonna say is that they didn't make a copycat of something. You know, like I can't
Mhm.
compare this to anything else, if that makes sense. You know,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
could compare things to Twilight, other horrible things.
I suppose that's not wrong. I don't want
Like,
that
what
to
would
be
you
right, but
compare to
it's not
Twilight?
right.
Like, what's
It's
something that's
Yeah.
similar to Twilight?
I can't think of I mean like soap operas is the best example, but
Yeah.
it doesn't
That
really
doesn't really
change
do
your
justice.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and it's different because of like the all of the horrible components going in there. It is like a soap opera, but it's not just a soap opera
Yeah.
either.
Like, that's like maybe the worst compliment you could ever get.
Yeah.
I think in a movie is that it's a unique experience. Where it's
Yeah.
just like, I mean, it's just not a horrible compliment, but it's like, it's an experience that only this movie could give me,
Yeah.
although it's a terrible one.
I mean, like it's
Terrible.
funny because it's like it's frustrating because like you're not wrong, but like those are usually they are things that you usually say about like a cool movie, like a one of a kind or something like this. And it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is like unique and one of a kind, but just because like
No, but in like
but
horrible ways.
and
Yeah.
nothing should even attempt to ever be anywhere close to what
Oh
it's
no,
like.
nothing will. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
in some way, there's something kind of beautiful about that in film history where there is this series that's like so uniquely horrible and
Yeah.
Mhm.
being romance
That's a
drama
good point.
and just so odd and just such a weird
I
time.
think I think maybe like the interesting like on that like the interesting thing about it to me is not so much like it in terms of artistic value, you know, that's not like it's like the phenomenon of
Yeah,
Twilight
exactly.
happening
Yeah.
at that point in
Right.
time. Like
Yeah.
I think that that's
Exactly.
a good point because it's like it's such a strange phenomenon. It's such a strange phenomenon.
Yeah,
And you like
exactly.
and when I was watching that, I was kind of taken into that phenomenon, like
Yeah,
watching
exactly.
Twilight. It was just like this is so weird that this happened.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
weird.
Like I think like every generation has a series like this, you know.
Yeah.
I think we're not gonna look back fondly, you know. Um, who knows? Maybe our kids will. I don't know. Marvel movies might become like a certain thing where people see it and they're like, "Why? What the fuck were they doing
These
in
guys were
2010?"
nerds.
Like,
Yeah.
wow, nerds, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
doubt it, but who knows, you know? But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Twilight.
Yeah.
I think we're
I'm glad that
too
we
close
did.
to it still. That's the
It's
problem. We just don't
Twilight.
know.
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
too
it's like 10
close.
years
It's too
later.
close. Well, after
We
our
need
viewing.
more. We need more.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if like 30 years from now it's like hailed as like this super influential series?
I feel like it
Well,
would be cult.
you
It
know
would be a
what's
cult.
crazy if like something comes out? Like what if like 20 years from now they like a series comes out that is Twilight, like it's just like a similar story, similar but it's just like really good. It's like really well. It's just like great. And then they're like Twilight did it first, so it's like influential.
Yeah,
Mm.
right.
How about
Yeah.
a Twilight reboot?
I
Oh,
can see that.
that makes my stomach hurt to think about a Twilight. I
guess
would
what?
hate to see those words
I will
in the
be
news.
there. I will
How could you?
see it.
That makes me so sick because it's just like, how could you not watch a Twilight reboot? But I can't think of something that belongs on the bottom of my shoe more than the words Twilight reboot. Like it belongs in the
Yeah.
doggy poo poo.
Listen, there's nothing I can do about it. People are dumb. People are gonna go see it. Studios are
Yeah.
gonna make things that make money.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I think is gonna reason why Twilight will not have a resurgence. Here's why.
I don't think it will
Because
either.
because unlike other movies that might have like this has that uniqueness that we're
Like this
talking
is like
about.
embarrassing. Like people, there's not like a fan base for this movie. Like
Right.
this is
Well,
one of the most. Yeah, I mean those people are weird.
But
This
it's
is
like you
one of the
can
most memed movies like of all time.
right. You can there are
yeah.
people who like have liked Twilight and would be maybe considered fans to a degree, but the difference is like instead of it being a dedicated fan group of like I love Mad Max or I love the Marvel
Yeah.
films or whatever franchise or like fandom it is,
Yeah.
it's like as soon as there's something that fills the role of kind of like what Twilight does, a romance,
Exactly.
a TV
Yeah.
show, like,
Right.
and it's new, it's gonna like
Right.
it's gonna lose. Like Twilight, it
Exactly.
has lost because it has not come back. It's not
Right.
relevant at all
Yeah. Exactly.
because it gets
Yeah.
replaced by that new shit
That
that's
void.
exactly the
Yeah.
same.
That fills the same void.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's actually very true. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this on the Twilight subreddit, the tag post is for the weekly mega thread of aesthetic and vibes. So this definitely is like catering to that.
What is
Like
it?
the pin post on the Twilight subreddit is the a weekly mega thread for aesthetic and vibes of Twilight.
Aesthetic and vibes.
All right, so
So,
are
like,
they like
Whoa.
posting like pictures of like here's my Twilight vibe. My room's totally Twilight right now.
let
Yeah,
me
what is
see.
the thread like?
I bet
Sometimes when I'm driving down the road that have forest on either side, I imagine I'm in Forks. Rainy day that sometimes
That's
give
gotta
that
be a
blue
meme,
tint
though.
color to scenery.
That's gotta be a meme.
No,
That's
dude,
cool.
I think it's true. Like, there's some crazy people who like will say, I Reddit comments, any comment on the internet about fandoms is just batshit crazy. It's just like
Yeah.
I can't believe that you said that, even on through typing on the words, and I read it with
Yeah.
my eyes.
Yeah.
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 And the related communities are Vampire Diaries, Harry Potter, Gossip Girl, Pretty Little Liars,
Yeah, see,
American Horror Story. So it's fitting
fact
into a
that, yeah, it
genre.
makes me sad that Harry Potter's in that, but I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're too close.
But Jesus Christ, all these other things that you listed are like some of my least favorite things that this world has ever created.
Yeah.
Especially Gossip Girl and what was the Vampire Diaries. Vampire Diaries was
Oh yeah.
the thing that they made like during Twilight, and it was like that was like a major. It was basically just Twilight, but like a
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
But with a diary, I
It
guess.
went on for like years, and it had like a giant fan base. And that was like a real fucking soap opera, like with vampires and love
It just
triangles.
is, it's so sad that there can be so much time spent on TV shows that like are just like that suspension of time types of TV shows. It's just like it
Right.
makes me feel so depressed, like to think
Yeah.
about watching a show like that. That is
Oh,
just like
That's why
that.
I do not watch TV. It actually like makes me
Yeah.
go insane.
Yeah,
It
it's
makes me,
like it
I
feels like
hate
you're
it.
trapped in like some kind
Yeah.
of hellish nightmare.
Yeah.
It's just like will this ever stop? Will
Yeah,
we ever
I
go
only- I
anywhere?
only watch
Yeah.
shows like there's a difference between like something like Rick and Morty, for example, that
Yeah,
is like episodic. Like you don't have to like follow.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I could watch any episode and that would be fine. You know, need the story of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I mean I only watch shows like when they're like over. When they're like over and someone's like, yeah, it's great all the way through. I'm like, okay, I'll watch it then. You
Yeah.
know? But I had such a hard time like watching shows that are still on and that like and then I don't want to get invested and then just like I don't know, just always have that feeling of like, is this ever gonna end? Or is this
Yeah.
ever gonna like is this ever gonna get to the end of the story?
So what I hate about like series and stuff like that, it's like that moment of like initially being really genuinely intrigued, you know, and you get like attached to the characters, and then you like watch a really great first season. And then
Mhm.
this happens with anime a lot. Like you'll start a season and it's dope as fuck, so cool.
Mhm.
And then you get into the second season, it was just like, okay, sure, I'll go into season 3.
Yeah.
And you go
Yeah.
into season 3 and you're like, I have a lot of questions. My doubt is starting to rise. And you look at the season list and you got 9 more. It's just like, I'm invested. How deep do we go?
Yeah. Already got a down payment here. Gotta
Yes.
keep going.
TV, like I also like I have like about like the more I like watch TV or the more that I like just think about TV, I have immense respect for people who work on TV shows. Like
Yeah.
I can't even imagine um beginning to do that because making a movie is hard enough. Think about
Yeah.
making like 4 movies like a year, like a
Yeah.
Yeah.
season of TV. And
Yeah.
not only that, the pressure of making an episode every week and, you know, um, like delivering every week.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
don't, the threat of being canceled and losing your job.
Yeah.
And then even like successful shows have such a like pressure to continue and keep the quality up for so
Yeah.
many years.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like there think about how many garbage movies there are. That is like 2 hours of material. And think about how hard it is just to write 2 hours like a movie. Think about how
Yeah.
hard it is to write a whole season of a TV show, have it consistent over the course of many, many years. And
Yeah.
continue this over I can't even
Yeah.
comprehend it. I don't
I
even
know.
understand it.
I
That's what
know.
like blows me away
Yeah.
like really good TV shows. Like Breaking Down and like Rick and Morty and all these things that are just so consistently great that it's
I
like what the hell like is going on?
Yeah. Some of that's lead up though, for sure.
Yeah. What do you
Like
mean?
you're not like most TV shows aren't being made week to week anymore. They're like
No,
we
but
have a
I mean
set
like some of
production.
them are. But I mean
Yeah, some of
even
them.
still though, I mean they're season to season.
Oh yeah, for
Like
sure.
I
For
mean
sure.
it's just the what I'm trying to say is different from a movie where you put the movie out and you almost like you're done with the movie and you're like the audience has it now, whatever they think of it, whatever they think of it, I'm gonna go take a nap.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
With a TV show, they put a season out there. Every episode, they're seeing the audience's reaction.
Good
They're
point.
literally like getting this insane data as the show is being like aired, and
Yeah.
then they are kind of formulating how they write the next season through that, or they're like breaking down and they know where they're gonna end, and they
Yeah.
make a show, you know, according to those lines. But I'm not a
Yeah.
showrunner. I've never even worked on a
Well,
TV show
even
or anything, so
Breaking
I don't
Bad,
even know.
even Breaking Bad, I think it's like they had like kind of like more. They had a preconceived plan, but even they kind of were flying more by the seat of their pants and
Oh,
like
absolutely,
riding
yeah,
as they were going.
yeah,
And it's like that's a crazy hard feat to do because like you can edit like a little bit, but you
yeah,
have to you have to keep pushing that. You have to keep pushing it out. You have to push it out as soon as
yeah.
possible. And I think that like the other thing is that it's just like what you have to find is like a crew and like of writers who just like
Oh,
really
yeah.
write well under those circumstances and like gel well
Yeah.
together. And it's just
Yeah.
like it's just so it's so crazy like how in addition to good movies needing like great people and a great idea behind it, it also needs a great deal of serendipity to kind of like
Yeah.
really pull it together to be
Mhm.
like amazing because it needs to have that right timing for everybody. Like everyone needs to
Yeah.
be like locked in and like vibing with it and stuff. It's like it's a crazy thing. It's a crazy
Also
thing.
crazy too, like even like films like you'll shoot for hours, 2 months, 2 to 3 months. TV shows will be like, okay, well here's schedules for a year, and this
Yeah.
whole crew like works like I can't even it's just such crazy hard work making a TV show.
I can't imagine how weird it must feel to be like on a long running TV show and for it to then stop,
Oh,
because a
it's
lot
probably
of these because
bizarre
like
as
Mm.
well.
what about like even I've watched a lot of Bones. It's one of her
Yeah.
favorite series that we've watched, and that person is Emily Day. Is her name Emily Deschanel? Eva? Yeah, Emily Deschanel, and her sister is Zoe Deschanel, right?
Zoe Deschanel,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and like Emily Deschanel is not in fucking anything because she's been in Bones her whole fucking career.
Right.
And it's like, that is so insane to me. You've had
But
a
I
whole
mean,
career.
also, there is something really gratifying about that too. To be
Yes,
like,
yes,
tied
definitely.
into, so yeah, when that ends, like, yeah, it's like basically you're like you spend like, I mean, I know like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is like a famous sitcom with Andy Samberg, like that's
Right.
ending like this is the last season, like for 8 years, 8 to 10 years. They've been
That's
like
crazy.
working on the show, and it's like,
That's
oh, it's gonna
crazy.
be over now. It's like, what the fuck? I'm like, what do I do now? Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know
Well,
all those people, kind of family, the whole crew,
yeah.
everybody. Like, you've been working with those people for years, you know? Yeah.
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 Songs that you probably uh, create with those people are probably pretty crazy.
Pretty intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
That's what I
intense.
was going to say. I'm watching like Star Trek The Next Generation with my family.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
they watched it back when it was first airing. But
Right.
like, those people still know each other in our family because it's so close. And yeah, some of them went on to
Yeah.
do other things, but some of them haven't really been in anything else too. And like
I mean, probably
that,
because they're like, well, first of all, they don't need to.
yeah,
The royalty checks and the money that they probably generate from being on a super successful show like that, they could, if he needs money, if whoever on that show needs money, they'll probably just call like a convention center or something that's doing like a
yeah,
Star Trek convention. So they're like, hey,
yeah. They
I'll
get
come
paid
and like,
thousands to go to
I'll have it
conventions.
exactly like pretty good life. I mean, you just do this, and you're like,
Yeah,
I'll just show up and sign some autographs and get, you know, big paycheck, and then, maybe
Yeah.
do some acting if I want. But I mean,
Yeah.
you're
But
not a TV show for that long. How long did that show go for? Over 10 years,
7 seasons, and then that was
yeah.
actually canceled because they wanted to make movies. They had
yeah.
more
Right.
ideas
Well,
that they
yeah, they
never
made
used.
Star Trek Generation movies, right? Next Generation movies, right?
Yeah, they
A
made
few.
four or five.
Yeah, right,
Two
Yeah.
are good,
Those are,
three are bad.
right.
yeah. The Borg one was cool. I remember
Oh
liking
yeah,
that.
that was good.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like, I feel like Twilight is actually similar to that show experience, especially for the actors, because I just thought it's taken Robert Pattinson a long time to get out of that like
Mm-hmm.
identity of being Edward. It's like, I
Right.
don't think of him as Edward anymore, but up until
Yeah.
I don't know what that first movie that I saw with it. There was one movie that I saw that was like totally changed my perspective of Robert Pattinson.
Right.
But like up until then, it was like, this man is Edward.
Right.
Yeah,
Like, that's
Yeah,
who
that's
he
like something
is.
that like all those guys have had to deal with, like, Radcliffe who played
Yeah,
Potter,
exactly.
it's
yeah,
interesting to see they're both very similar in the things that they did after that. Radcliffe and Pattinson just did weird shit, man. They just chose the weird films, small indie films, because they wanted to get away from that studio system, and
Yeah.
they didn't need,
hmm
they wanted to do things that they actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I doubt both of them would have regrets doing that, because if they did, I think that would be pretty fucking weird, considering that's how they are working in the fucking first place.
hmm
And being in there, that's how we know. That's why we're even saying Robert Pattinson because of Twilight. Um, but like, yeah, it's probably a weird experience because they're like, I mean, Potter's great, but like, I mean, Bob Pattinson has been very clear like how much he hates the Twilight movies. Um, it was probably weird for him for a few years.
Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't that cool.
You
Well,
know,
imagine being known as a character rather than yourself.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
that's out of
wow.
body.
Yeah, it's weird as hell, man.
And it's
All weird
also,
as shit.
that's also like the most extreme like point of like self-deprecation that you could be, because like you know how like when you make something or start something for the first time, you can look at it and be like, this is real garbage, like this really sucks. You have like that self-doubt and self-deprecation, and like you don't think about that for these movie actors, these big names like Robert Pattinson being in Twilight. You don't think of that as being like a failure, but it's like imagine like what he feels when he watches Twilight.
Yeah.
Like if he turns on a Twilight movie, it's like that is a complicated like pot of emotions,
Yeah, I don't
probably.
know. He might laugh
Yeah.
at it. I don't know what he thinks.
I hope that's what
He
it is.
might just laugh
He
at it.
probably if he's past it, he probably does laugh at it. I hope he does. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be
He's
great for sure.
well established at this point as like a great actor. He's playing fucking Batman. Jesus, like
Right.
he's
Yeah. He's
Batman
moved
now.
past. He has
Yeah.
launched past that.
So like,
I mean, actors also probably have like. It's interesting because I feel
well,
like
they're not as attached to it as
yeah.
they're just acting in it. They're not.
This is like that was just a performance of mine. Like I did that was a
Right.
performance.
And probably Bob Pattinson. I mean, when you're working on it, he's probably more thinking about the experience of actually making it rather
Right,
than
right,
like
right.
the product.
Right.
Like
I can't imagine it being fun at all, especially if you like really want to do like what a weird position, terrible position to be in if you really want to like do real art stuff like he's doing now and seems to be really passionate about.
have never
Mhm.
got past that. And he is very lucky that he even got to do what he did because there's a lot of TV act. I mean, to look it up, there's tons of TV actors who were super big on TV that never broke into film, or so when the show's over, they just petered out.
Go
Never
away. Yeah.
were like
Yeah, they're just
Self,
done.
who played like Magnum PI for fucking years,
Yeah.
in the '70s, and then never had a film career after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Right.
basically just disappeared.
Yeah.
So,
It's a weird being an actor is a really weird life. I feel like that's just something that
yeah.
is just like so I'm so connected to that, but like I've never had any interest in acting, so I don't really like investigate it that much. But like the more I like think about it, just like the experience of what it's like to be an actor, to be like I feel like you would just feel like a test subject, like being constantly poked and prodded, just like, yeah, do this and like do this, and like, oh, you did a bad thing in that. It's just like so weird.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially like
Mhm.
everybody talks about like the big name actors, the stars, but they
Yeah.
don't think about like the character actors, or just regular actors who play pizza guy #1. Like what is that guy? What is that
Yeah.
guy's life like? Probably not cool.
Yeah.
Audition, the hustle of being an actor is like fucking
Well,
insane.
depends what type of pizza guy and what type of movie.
Good point.
Yeah.
You could be the coolest pizza guy in New York City.
No. Like I'm just saying, like the small parts, they don't pay well. Like you might not be living a very good life. Is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
it's basically like the idea of being. I think being an actor, as much as I love movies and like enjoy actors, they're fucking crazy people. I mean,
Yeah.
to have your ego stroked and destroyed like constantly. Like when you go on auditions, like you get denied, maybe the way you look, maybe the way you speak. And being like a somebody film a filmmaker, when you're auditioning actors, that's what you think about sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you don't have the look. Like what?
Hmm.
That's a horrible thing to hear.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like it's being a working actor just does not sound like a very healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Of having your ego stroked and this ego just inflated too at the same time. When you're on set, when I work on this set, the actors think they're the shit.
Yeah.
And in reality, you're not. You're like everybody else. This is your job, and everybody else is doing your job. You're not like a kid.
Yeah.
They think they do because they have an ego about them.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like one of those risks where it's just like, even if it might not be like a position, like a director is in like a position of power, but even like an actor, because they're like the performing thing and they have the attention, that's the kind of power that they're struggling with.
Hmm.
So that's the
The
same kind of
power that they're
thing.
also struggling with is that they're needed. for the film. Like
Right.
it's the power of it is that they, without the actor, like it's, the film completely falls apart.
That's a really good
And
point.
the power of that is like, I mean, if you have a good person,
Yeah.
they're not gonna
Well,
damage
Yeah.
even if the actor isn't good, as soon as you commit a character, like an actor to a character, as then you are like have the power over like being the continuity of the story
yeah,
too.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you could you're just like you have to, everyone has to kind of like warp to that to just like include them in regardless of
Well, think about what that
what
would do
they're
to
like.
your like ego.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
if you were I mean, you're a good person. If we were all good people, I don't think we would be assholes to people on set. But you have that
No.
power, that sense of power,
Mhm.
where you know in your head that they need me. If I leave, this whole thing falls apart. You know,
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah.
there are actors that on the film that I worked on that were like that.
Yeah.
And so, I fucking hated them. Like they were. I mean, it's actually embarrassing how much like. I mean, it was sad. I mean, it was sad and it was like embarrassing. Um,
Yeah.
for them, they probably didn't think so, but I thought it was pretty embarrassing. Um, but yeah, it's weird. It's a weird world. It's a
Yeah.
weird world. It's such a bizarre. I don't really understand what it would be like to try to be a working actor. It's just
Yeah.
bizarre.
A lot of people, it's one of those things though that like it's just one of those careers that people just have such a huge passion for, and
He's
just like if it
passion.
like if
It's a
it
huge
speaks to
passion for
you.
it, but there is a lot. There's a majority. There are probably a lot of actors that just want to be actors to be like famous or to
Yeah.
be like
Mhm.
looked at. You know,
Yeah.
I
I
Yeah.
don't know
mean,
how
but
many.
they're
Yeah,
I,
there's definitely a side of doing it for the craft of
yeah.
acting, the art of
Yeah. That's more like
acting.
theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like the real. I don't know. To me, I'm not an actor, and I don't even have a lot of acting friends, but the real actors to me are theater actors because that's like real work. Like they're doing it like every night
Live.
for months, you know.
Yeah.
It's more, that to me is more of like a pure expression of like what acting is. But film is film acting is a completely different thing, but it's still there's an art form in film acting. But I think there is an ego in film acting where it's like I want to be a movie star, that movie star thing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that I think looms over that career. That's
I mean, I
um
think it's probably very true that that's something that is more so like a problem in specifically the acting careers. I could totally see that statistically to be the case, but you see like similar things like that in people who are like, star artists in comic book
yeah
like industries, or people who are like virtuosos in like a
yeah
band, or a
Mhm.
lead songwriter like Kanye West,
yeah
like fucking Takashi 69,
yeah
these like stars pits. And there's always people like you see that in music a lot too, like these people who are getting into it and are just making fucking trash because they
yeah
want to be stars and stuff.
yeah
Mhm.
So like but I don't know, it is true. It just seems like the thing that's like it seems like the stardom aspect and like the desire to be a star is just so tied with the narrative of acting as a career too.
yeah
Like
Yeah.
because maybe it's just because there's so many like stories that actors have acted about becoming famous. There's so
exactly
Mhm.
much stories about famous
Well,
and
that's also
fame.
what the common denominator is, because everyone, most people are going to know a famous actor because they're most likely seen that movie then,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
or seen a
Right.
That's
bunch of movies with it.
that's
Compared to
another
like,
like really interesting point to the ego thing because like a lot of actors are quote unquote like crazy. I mean, some of the most famous actors in the world are batshit insane, like
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp, you know, batshit insane. And it's because probably from near that point is when you're an actor, not only like it is a hard job because especially if you're a lead actor in a film, because you're almost selling the movie. Like
Mhm.
You are the face of the movie, and that's like a pretty big burden to have when you are like you have to, you know, for a big budget movie, you have to like be the face of it. You have to go sell it. You are Robert Downey Jr. You are the face of the movie. Like you
Right.
acted in it, but you are representative of what this movie is like. You know, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking nutty.
Yeah, it's crazy that a human being could be turned into that kind of advertising platform. That's the
Yeah.
thing that's kind of,
Celebrity.
yeah, that's the thing
All
that's,
celebrity is.
it's what's scary about it too, because it's just like these, at the end of the day, these are people who just are people, you know, and they just
Yeah.
have this like huge
And
meaning
sometimes they're just
associated with them.
beautiful people, like Vin Diesel. He sucks as an
Yeah.
actor. He is
Yeah.
garbage. Like you actually cannot argue that he's a good actor. He's never going to get performance ever in his fucking life. He got lucky as fuck because kind of he has a look that that he just
He's a
got
type.
lucky as fuck. Yeah, he's a type, and he just got lucky as hell with the Fast and Furious franchise. All his other movies bomb or are hilariously awful. Like he is so lucky, and he also sucks because he also has like a huge ego about him, and he thinks he's really cool,
Yeah.
and that's like hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Here's another weird thing, actually, that's got me thinking about like Vin Diesel's, because a lot of people in these acting careers or anyone's career, if you look past it towards the stuff that like no one knows about it, a lot of it is really like quite bad, you know, because
yeah,
they had to learn how to get good. But it's
yeah,
kind of an interesting phenomenon when you have these superstars where even their trash stuff, well, you know, maybe they built an empire off of trash, so it's kind of a moot point. But like sometimes, well, I guess you could say this about like Robert Pattinson, who's like making good movies, in my opinion, now,
yeah,
and has this phenomenal. He's like so, I don't know, just involved with like
yeah.
being a big actor that even his trash is famous. It's like that's kind
Well,
of
he's like, I
insane.
mean, it's weird to like, I don't know, like when you're an actor, it's not like you're making these films. It's just like you just happen to be in it. Like you don't know
Sure.
like
Yeah.
what it's gonna be. Like and also
Well,
when you're an actor starting out, you'll take any job. Like you'll do anything. Like Leonardo DiCaprio's first films are horrible because they're like
Mhm.
low budget, films that like you just needed work. And he,
Yeah.
yeah.
wanted to get in it. Um,
Well, it's almost like you're the art almost, and that's what I think people view themselves. I was thinking like other artwork, and it's like for some reason I went to like Michelangelo, like the
Hmm.
sculpture or
yeah.
Hmm.
sculpture David,
Hmm.
whoever Michelangelo made. For an
Yeah.
actor, you're the material, the sculpture, and the work and the artist.
Yeah.
Right.
You're really not, but you're presented that way and you believe it
Exactly.
that way. While
Yeah.
any
I
other
agree.
art, there's an artist, there's a medium, there's a
Yeah.
subject, there's a tools,
Yeah.
there's all this other stuff that goes into it.
I
For
know that's
acting,
something
almost you
that
get put in
I
one.
kind of realized when I got older.
Totally.
Because when you're
Totally.
younger, or most people they'll see like a Jake Gyllenhaal, for example, like, oh, I like his movies. I'll see this movie that he's in.
Yeah,
Not really thinking like, who made this? What did he like? Who's involved in
Right.
the actual
Right.
making of this? Like,
yeah,
but I mean, it is. But to that point, though, Jake Gyllenhaal chooses good movies. Usually, the movies that he's in, I like. So he'll probably be in another movie that I like because I like the movies that he chooses to do.
Right.
So
yeah.
sometimes it does work. But like, yeah, it is weird that they are like almost just like they're seen as like a Hugh Jackman movie where it's like, yeah, he just acted in it. He said, "I like this script. I'll say these
Yeah.
lines."
Right.
It's like he didn't write the script. He didn't do anything. I mean, he acted in it. That's it. Or
Yeah.
produced it. Some actors,
He didn't edit it. He didn't sound mix it.
no, he
Right.
could. Yeah, it's just funny.
And I
It's
think
just part of the corporate machine, man. It's part of the being an
It's
actor. It's part of
content,
being a
not art.
it,
That's
celebrity.
part of it.
but also the thing about it too that is the truth in the advertising here is that it's undeniable that the actors are the main subject of like the art piece. It's like that's so clearly how films function. It's like they are the centerpiece because they are what we are looking at, like by doing it. And they're just like, it's just been advertised to such like an absurd degree, honestly. It's just absurdly I don't know, like exaggerated. It's
the
just
thing
like
about how many movies
crazy.
are made, like I call it, like they're called like star vehicles that are made for an actor. That's like Matthew McConaughey before he started doing cool movies was making them bullshit. Like he was making like he's a handsome man, and so the studio basically gave him like a free, picture deal to make these rom-coms, and they were written, and they were made to cater to Matthew McConaughey's persona and his image, not necessarily, I don't
Him as a
know, let's make a
person.
good movie. No,
Yeah.
it was made to market McConaughey as a star. And they all have the same movie poster, by the way.
Right. That's actually that's in a specifically weird situation about like that we don't think about.
That doesn't really happen that much anymore with like streaming and stuff. I don't really see like the movie star doesn't really exist anymore, like the big giant movie star. But like a Schwarzenegger, for example, or a Stallone.
It exists in terms of like Marvel movies and who's what hero.
But you're going to see like Dr. Doolittle bombed, and that's starring Downey Jr.
Right, but it's not. You're right. It's not just Robert Downey Jr.
Iron Man, but they're
Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. Yeah, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But The Rock is kind of like a movie star because people will go see like The Rock in a skyscraper. Okay. The Rock on a cruise, jungle cruise.
Jumanji.
Jumanji, so it's like, I guess he's still kind of like that kind of old Hollywood movie star, but we don't have
it is. It's weird, still like maybe this is backtracking a little bit, but it's weird because like the vocabulary that you hear in the layman people who don't know the film technicalities like us bourgeoisie film
us educated
folks, but you usually refer to it as like, oh yeah, that has an actor I like in it, that has an actor I like in it. That's like that's the only vocabulary for associating quality of a film.
Right.
And
that's just the machine working. That's the Hollywood machine working. That's like, oh, I think Scarlett Johansson's beautiful. I will go see this movie because
bada bing, bada boom.
Well, that's almost.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
But I think we are in an age where, like, people. I think it's more about the film, like, as well, because like big movies with no movie stars no big name actors will make money, but the opposite will happen too. So I don't know, like The Nice Guys, for example, starring Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. Amazing reviews, incredible movie, in my opinion, bomb, and those are two movie stars, that was almost like Ryan Gosling, he's fucking, people love Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You would think, so it's definitely a combination of the two now. It's not just Schwarzenegger in Commando. It's just an army guy holding a fucking big gun. And people went and saw it. Because it was Schwarzenegger. People, like, if that came out today, I think most people would be like, bullshit, not seeing Schwarzenegger as an army guy holding a fucking gun, shooting people. Like, I need more. I need a little more. I hope to think that that's how people think. But.
Well, I think unfortunately it might not be exactly like that, but I think it's similar but for different reasons. You know, it seems like it's more like types of movies that people are attracted to.
superhero movies.
Like the
Yeah.
superhero movies are like some kind of plot that they know,
Right,
like because you see the same things that like the fucking like war type of movies,
Which
you know,
I
that like
think maybe, I don't know what's worse. Would we
I
rather
know,
have
yeah,
movies being made with like, probably not, right? I would probably want the movie star lady to be, because they're attracting them to like whatever movie they chose, right? So Schwarzenegger
Hmm.
was in like a Total Recall, for example, which is a
yeah,
fucking bizarre movie,
yeah,
like bizarre,
really
and that
cool,
was a
yeah.
big hit, very cool sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
But like, would that be made today? Probably not. You know,
No.
um, and if it was made today, it
Right.
would be like a lower budget film. It would be like a streaming movie, for example, not like this big profile movie like a movie star in it. I don't know. I don't know.
It's really hard. It's just it's a really tough
I
question.
don't
It's a
like.
really
I
tough
think
question.
being like a movie producer and like what to make and what not to make would be so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like, if you were like ahead of like Universal and stuff, and you're
Yeah.
trying to make your money back every year and what films to
Hmm.
make and what to produce, the more I think about it, the more it makes sense why a bunch of sequels and remakes
Yeah.
are made, because it's hard to make a risky film. Like, and whatever they do, whatever a studio or Warner Brothers puts out, the nice guys, and that easily could have turned into a franchise, fucking easily. Two
Hmm.
amazing, like, you could have just made a bunch of awesome, like, private investigator movies with those two guys, like, easily. But when it doesn't make money, I mean, you're willing to, all right, we'll take another Terminator because,
Right.
it'll make money. And that's just like really upsetting. But like, that's why every time, I don't know, a studio puts out like a Nice Guys or something, that it's like, I try to tell everyone to fucking see it. And if I like it, obviously. Because
Yeah.
it's just like, please, like, I just want more risks like that. Because it's just more exciting, it's more
Yeah.
exciting
It's
than,
something different and new, and it's not like a repetitive or a safe
yeah.
bet. You want something that's like, okay, maybe this has some bad parts in it, but you're doing something good too, and that should be rewarded.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 And like, it's just sad that like audiences kind of, I think you're right, Jesse, that it's just like they see something that is familiar, like a plot that is familiar, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah, that looks like something that I like. Look, if there's a fucking movie coming out like this weekend called like The Protege or something, that is like the most
Oh
J-
yeah.
John Wick ripoff thing I've ever seen. It's like John Wick
Mm-hmm.
fucking. There's so many John Wick ripoff movies now, and
Yeah.
I fucking love John Wick, but like, I'm getting tired of, now. I'm getting, it's crazy that I'm getting tired of like the style that John Wick created, like the that not created, but brought back that action style, that very
Yeah.
Steadicam kind of super well choreographed, people doing actual stunts,
Yeah.
kung fu shit.
Yeah.
It sucks that I'm getting tired of it, because all these action movies now are adopting it and
Yeah.
doing it worse. And
Yeah.
so now it's just like, well, fuck, like,
Yeah. It's that kind of thing where it's just like when you have like a good idea in something that kind of sticks for a while, the goal of that is then to take the easiest quality to replicate and usually put that up along a frame which usually doesn't really have that much substance, and try to produce that like as much as possible. And it's like it's really smart to do that. And hopefully, like,
very
it would be
smart, yeah.
cool. It's cool. It would be cool if more shit like that happened and it turned into like the slasher film, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm.
was a cool phenomenon where that exact thing happened, but instead of it turning into like this kung fu redundancy,
Yeah,
like gun fu shit, it's like it turned into this whole genre. It created a subgenre. It's like
right,
that
right,
is how subgenres get created, but it's
right.
also how a whole bunch of shit happens like
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
frequently.
yeah. I don't know what's next. Something just like, But it's like exciting, like it is exciting of how that thing works, where like a movie like John Wick will come out at some point that is like this revolutionary action movie that will change the
Mhm.
the world of action movies for the next 10 years. Like
Yeah.
that movie did. You know, or now next Fury Road did.
Right.
Like you know, it's just funny that like something that you love so much, like John Wick, and then you start to like see all these things like replicated, and then you don't like it as much because you're like,
I hate that.
oh,
Yeah,
it's
I
like.
really hate that.
I mean, I still love John Wick, but it's not the movie's fault like at all. Um,
Yeah.
it's just like a bummer. Even Marvel movies, man. Marvel movies since John Wick came out, they adopted that style, action. Um,
Yeah.
and while it's better than like shaky cam, and like we're going in a good direction. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But like it's a good direction. I'd rather have this actually like you could see the action going on and like
Yeah.
have cool choreography rather than like let's shake the camera so we don't have to film good action and train actors to do it.
Right.
I'd
Yeah.
rather have that. So we're going in a good direction.
Yeah.
But it's just funny. It's just like man, like drugs are real, man. Drugs are
There's a
fucking
lot of
real.
poo on the road.
Avoid the poo. There's so much poo.
Like you're still going, but like you gotta dump a little on the way.
Yeah.
For real, dude. Anyway, wow. This
Oh,
discussion just turned into I don't
that was
even
a
know.
pretty deep one for Twilight, my guys.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that we can safely say that we will never. I don't want to watch Twilight ever
I
again.
don't think
Zach,
I'll ever watch Twilight again.
how do you feel, Zach?
No, but like if I get paid or like it's beneficial to me to watch it, I would. Like I could sit down and not feel pain. Let's put it that way while watching
Yeah.
this. That's where
Right.
I'm at with this. It's
Yeah.
not enjoyment and it's bad, but like if something is worse than this, like sure.
Actually, I kind of agree with that too, because it's like I don't vehemently hate this. I'm just like I don't love it, but like I don't feel the same kind of hatred that I feel that I have felt for a lot of movies like this. It's just kind of
Mhm.
like I am boldly indifferent and I don't give a fuck. This is
Yeah.
a
Well, I think at
waste.
the end of the day, it's like also like not made for us.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
It feels like astrology to me. Like a lot of people really into it and like I know of it, but like
this
that
really
ain't
is
me
the
and I don't
full
want to
equivalent
deal.
of astrology, isn't it?
Dude, that's so good.
You're right. You're very right. That's so funny.
That's exactly the
Yeah.
same. It's the same type of people too. Like that. I bet
Yeah.
those fan groups overlap
Yeah.
hard.
Mhm.
Wow, that is
Hilarious.
good. Yeah, I think the other thing about this is that I had like a good experience with it because it was like a hangout sesh with you guys. If I was
Exactly.
like sitting
Right.
down and watching this, is like I'm gonna watch a movie, and
I'm
my
like not gonna
expectations.
watch this. I
Yeah,
watch
Oh,
like 10 minutes and be like, I'm gonna watch something else.
yeah. Like why would you? Why would you spend
Yeah,
the time
I don't know.
unless you're
yeah.
doing it for a funny podcast?
Right.
Funny
Exactly.
podcasts are girls involved or your daughter's watching it. Like those are the
Right.
three
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah. We pretty
Yeah,
much always
yeah.
agree.
Or yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys for listening to these Twilight episodes.
Thank
They're
you.
fucking chaos. All of them are fucking just absolute chaos.
Twilight sucks.
Twilight sucks.
Twilight sucks.
I think we gotta talk at some point and pick another franchise.
I know. We'll have to
Maybe a
decide if we
more
want to
fun
do.
one that we could
Yeah.
maybe we'll do like just we'll do the subgenre, my favorite subgenre of cartoon mixed with live action. We'll
Yo.
start with the best one, which is Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is a
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
absolutely excellent movie. We'll talk about that for
Yeah.
a long
Something
time,
good.
probably too long.
Yeah.
I
It drops off.
can bring articles into you. I can say how genius that movie is. And then, Song of the South. Pretty
Maybe.
racist movie. We probably won't do that one.
But the films in quality drop off pretty quickly after Who
quickly.
Framed Roger Rabbit.
Garfield, The Smurfs,
Ooh,
102,
ooh,
G-Force,
yes.
Alvin and the Chipmunks, one,
And
That's
back
Alvin
down.
and the Chipmunks,
That's a
eight,
classic.
Alvin and the Chipmunks, Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Shipwrecked, and Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Trip. So,
People funded that. People gave money.
The Road Trip. You don't know The Road Trip?
The road trip.
The
The road trip has
The
been.
only reason I know why it's called The Road Trip is that it opened against The Force Awakens. So there are people who took their kids to see Star Wars and then couldn't get in to see Star Wars, so they saw The Road Trip, and that just makes me really happy.
That is
That makes
I
me
would,
sad.
one day when we are older, right, we're like in our 40s or 50s, and we're listening to budding filmmakers, like a young spunky 30-year-old guy, and it's just like, how was your movie experience like? Well, I was one of those kids who went and saw The Road Trip instead of The Force Awakens. So I understand your au revoir.
Tom and Jerry, the movie, the latest one.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Looked like complete dog ass.
Sure did.
That
sure did.
There's tons. There's tons to choose from.
Multiple, so many. Those are not as popular as they were now, but I would love to go and
there were times.
One just came out. Tom and Jerry just came out. Oh, fucking Space Jam 2. Space Jam. How fucking I forget about Space Jam?
Yeah, well, that was kind of assumed. I assumed we were talking about Space Jam. There's always an underlying assumption for Space Jam.
Yeah.
It's every genre.
Looney Tunes Back in Action. That's a legit, really good movie. Fight me. There's tons of them. There's tons to choose from. So maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, I'd be down to do that. But for now, we can just be happy that we finished Twilight. We don't have to do it ever again.
Been 3/4 of a year.
3/4 of a year. Twilight all the way. Whole time.
Zach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Great as always.
We will, you guys got this far. We love you. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter. And, listen to the rest of our episodes. We got 100 of them.
102 now.
All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.